Introduction: the collective amnesia. We live in a collective amnesia. From the moment you were born, they handed you a script. They told you that the world is solid, that luck is random, and that your destiny is written by forces beyond your will. They taught you to memorize data, to obey rules, and to fear the unknown. But never ever did they hand you the instruction manual for your own existence. Have you ever felt, in moments of absolute silence, that there is something more? That persistent feeling, like a splinter in the mind, that reality is not what it seems. Why do some men and women seem to glide through life without effort, accumulating wealth, health, and love, as if they had an invisible magnet, while the vast majority struggles, sweats, and bleeds just to survive one more day? It is not a coincidence, it is not genetics, and definitely it is not luck. The difference lies in the fact that most play the game of life blindfolded, tripping over furniture they cannot see, while a small elite, throughout history, has had access to the architect's blueprints. For millennia, this knowledge was zealously guarded. In the temples of Egypt, in the mystery schools of Greece, in the hermetic lodges of Europe, the wisdom of how the universe really works was fragmented, hidden behind complex symbols, and often forbidden under penalty of death. They did it to protect you, some said. They did it to control you, others know. Because a human being who understands the laws that govern reality is uncontrollable. He is a sovereign. He is a creator. But the era of secrets has ended. If you are listening to my voice right now, it is not an accident of the algorithm. In the mental universe, accidents do not exist. Only divine appointments exist. Your soul has signed a contract to wake up today. You are here because you are ready to remember what society forced you to forget. Today we are going to lift the veil. We are not going to talk about superstitions or blind faith. We are going to talk about the engineering of reality. What you are about to receive next is the source code. They are the 12 immutable laws that operate in the background of your life, 24 hours a day, whether you believe in them or not. They are as real as gravity. If you ignore gravity and jump from a building, you crash. If you ignore these metaphysical laws, you crash financially, emotionally, and spiritually. But if you know them, if you learn to align yourself with them, you become the captain of your destiny. Most people know one law, maybe two, like the famous law of attraction. But trying to manage your life with a single law is like trying to drive a sports car using only the rearview mirror. You need the complete system. You need the entire map. Prepare yourself. Turn off distractions. Close the door to the noise of the outside world. What you are about to hear has the potential to destroy the limited version of yourself and give birth to who you truly are. Welcome to the forbidden truth. Welcome to Path of Knowledge. These are the 12 keys they hid from you. Key 1, the law of mentalism. We have arrived at Genesis, at the Alpha, at the beginning of everything. If you forget the other 11 laws, I will teach you, but manage to understand and integrate this first law into every cell of your body, you will become invincible. The other 11 are simply manifestations, children, or footnotes to this great mother law. It is the principle that Hermes Trismegistus carved onto the emerald tablet. It is the secret that Jesus whispered in parables. It is the conclusion that modern quantum physics is terrified to reach. The law of mentalism. Its axiom is simple, but its implications are terrifying for the ego and liberating for the soul. The all is mind. The university is mental. Stop for a moment. Do not just listen to the phrase as a motivational slogan. Let the weight of these words break the ground beneath your feet. It means that matter, as you know it, does not exist. It means that the chair you are sitting on, the money in your pocket, your body, the mountains, the oceans, and the stars are not solid things independent of you. They are condensed thought. They are mental energy that has lowered its vibration frequency until becoming perceptible to your 5 senses. We live under the greatest illusion ever created, the illusion of objectivity. You have been taught that there is a real world out there, solid and immutable, and that you are a small being in here, inside your skull, trying to survive in that hostile world. The law of mentalism inverts that equation completely. You are not in the world. The world is in you. The universe is not a place full of objects. It is an immense ocean of consciousness, and you are a focal point within that ocean where the mind experiences itself. To understand this without going crazy, let's use the ultimate analogy, the cinema. Imagine you are in a movie theater. The movie on the screen shows a scene of war, poverty, and pain. You don't like what you see. You run toward the screen and start screaming at the characters. You try to fix the poverty by sticking bills on the screen. Will the movie change? Absolutely not. The screen is only a receptor. It is the effect, not the cause. To change the movie, you have to go to the projection booth, take out the current roll of film, and put in a new one. In your life, you have been fighting with the screen. The law of mentalism tells you, you are the projector. Your conscious mind is the lens. Your subconscious mind is the lamp of pure light. And your beliefs, your dominant thoughts, and your habitual feelings are the roll of film. The physical world, what you call reality, is simply the screen. It is a mental residue. If your bank account is at zero today, it is because months or years ago you put the movie "I Am Not Enough" into the projector. Physical reality always arrives with a delay. It is an echo. What you see today is what you thought yesterday. Therefore, worrying about your current reality is madness. If you want to change the future, you have to ignore the screen, current reality, and change the film in your mind right now. Perhaps your logical mind thinks, this is magical fantasy. If I hit the table, it hurts. Let's talk about science. Let's talk about quantum physics. Scientists began to look inside the atom. They expected to find solid little balls of matter. And what did they find? Nothing. Empty space. Energy. And the most disturbing thing, they discovered that subatomic particles do not have a fixed location or a defined shape until they are observed. It is the famous double-slit experiment. When not observed, the electron behaves like a wave, pure potential. When an observer looks at it, it becomes a particle, solid matter. Do you understand what this means? The observer creates reality. Without a mind to observe, there is no universe, only a soup of infinite probabilities. You are the observer in your life. Every morning when you wake up, the quantum field of your life is a wave of possibilities. But then your observer, your conditioned mind, comes into action. You remember who you are, you remember your name, your debt, your back pain, and by observing those things, you collapse the wave. You force free energy to become the same boring reality of yesterday again. You recreate yourself with memory. The law of mentalism tells you, stop observing what you don't want. Stop collapsing the wave of poverty. Start observing, in your imagination, the reality you desire, so that energy collapses into that new form. Here we enter dangerous ground. If the all is mind and you are the operator of your mind, then victims do not exist. I know this hurts, but if we accept the law, we must accept it fully. You are not a victim of your boss, the economy, or your genetics. You are a victim of your own uncontrolled mental programming. Everything in your life, the good and the bad, you have attracted or allowed through the quality of your thoughts. Perhaps you didn't think, I want to be fired. But perhaps you spent years feeling insecurity. That constant fear was the order you gave to the universal mind. I feel insecurity. Please give me a situation that validates it. And the mind gave you the layoff. This is the hardest red pill to swallow, but paradoxically, it is the best news of your life. Because if you were the one who created the disaster, it means you have the power to fix it. If you were a victim of chance, you would be lost. But since you are the creator, you don't have to wait. You only have to change your mind. The moment you assume radical responsibility, you recover the throne. How does the mind create? It is not enough to think positive for a while. The law of mentalism works through a specific chemical formula. Thought, electric, plus emotion, magnetic. Electromagnetic creation. A thought without emotion is like a car without gasoline. It doesn't move. The thought is the mold. The emotion is the fuel that fills the mold and gives it life. Most people use this formula in reverse. They have a thought of disaster and inject a massive dose of emotion, terror. Boom, instant creation. They just signed a psychic contract for trouble. The universe responds to intensity. Mastery of the law of mentalism consists of learning to hold a high thought, health, wealth, love, and deliberately charging it with high emotions, gratitude, peace, before the event occurs in the physical world. Neville Goddard called this feeling the secret. If the law of mentalism is real, why doesn't a Ferrari appear in my garage the instant I think of it? Because of density. We live in a plane of dense vibration, matter. In the mental plane, creation is instantaneous, but in the physical plane, there is a gestation time. Just as a human embryo takes 9 months to be a baby, a mental seed needs time to gather the physical resources to materialize. The problem is that most people abort their creations. They plant the seed of wealth on Monday, but on Wednesday, they don't see results. They get frustrated and say, "This doesn't work." By doing that, you have just dug up the seed and thrown it in the trash. You have planted a new seed of "this doesn't work." The law of mentalism requires mental persistence. You have to hold the mental image despite the contrary evidence of your senses. Faith is simply loyalty to your unseen mental reality. If you are able to maintain your mental state of wealth while your bank account is empty, physical reality will have no choice but to bend and reflect your mind. It is a law. It only fails if you give up. Imagine you decide to get fit. You start eating healthy, but every 2 hours you go to the garbage can and eat rotten food. Will you get fit? No. That is what you do with your mind. You do your affirmations in the morning, but the rest of the day you consume tragic news and gossip. If the all is mind, then your mind is a temple. You cannot allow trash to enter the temple. You need a strict mental diet. This means becoming a fanatical guardian of the gates of your mind. When someone comes to tell you a misfortune, block it mentally. Every thought is an investment. Mastery of mentalism means not allowing yourself the luxury of a negative thought for more than a few seconds. Detect it, cancel it, and replace it. At first it is exhausting, like taming a wild horse. But after a few days, the horse calms down and starts working for you. Within the law of mentalism, we must distinguish 2 levels, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious is the captain. He decides the course. The subconscious is the crew and the engines. It is the brute force that moves the ship. The captain does not need to know how the engines work. He only needs to give the clear order. The problem with humanity is that we have drunk and frightened captains. The captain, your conscious, is always screaming, "We are going to sink." And the crew, the subconscious, says, "The captain wants to sink. Let's sink the ship." The law of mentalism teaches you to be a sober captain. Your job is not to know how you are going to get the money or health. That is the job of the crew. Your only job is to give the clear order and maintain the course. Your job is to feel wealthy. The how is the domain of the universe. We reach the highest level of this law. If the universe is mental, then matter is malleable. The great miracles of history were not violations of the laws of physics. They were master applications of the law of mentalism. Those masters knew that matter is not solid. They knew it is energy responding to expectation. By changing their expectation at a deep and absolute level, matter reorganized itself instantly. You have that same potential. You can heal your body. Your body is the most direct product of your mind. Every cell in your body is listening to your thoughts. The placebo effect is the scientific proof of the law of mentalism. People who heal with sugar pills because they believed they would heal. The mind healed the body. The mind built the body. Key 2. The law of correspondence. If the first law, mentalism, told you that you are the creator, this second law explains how that creation is organized. And I warn you, this is the most difficult law for the human ego to accept. It is the law that destroys complaining. It is the law that annihilates the excuse. It is the law of the implacable mirror. Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, recorded this principle as the cornerstone of universal alchemy. As above, so below, as within, so without. This phrase, repeated endlessly, contains the key to deciphering the chaos of your life. It means that reality is a fractal hologram. In a hologram, if you cut a small part of the image, that small part contains the information of the entire image. In your life, the small contains the exact pattern of the large. Disconnection does not exist. Randomness does not exist. The universe is a system of perfect correspondences. What happens in the farthest galaxy follows the same patterns as what happens inside your atoms. And most importantly, for you today, what occurs in your physical world without is an exact replica of what is occurring in your mental world within. Imagine you write a document on your computer. You write a letter full of spelling errors and incorrect data. You hit the print button. The printer produces a sheet of paper. You look at the paper and see the errors. You get angry. You take an eraser and try to rub the ink off the paper. You go back to the computer and hit print again. What comes out? Exactly the same letter with the same errors. You change the printer. You buy more expensive paper. You hit print. The same thing comes out. This is the life of 99% of humanity. They are trying to change the printed sheet, the physical world, the without changing the digital file, the mind, the within. The law of correspondence tells you the outside world is not reality. It is the news report of your internal reality. If your financial life is chaos, it is because there is a corresponding chaos in your mentality about value and worthiness. The outside world has no will of its own. It only knows how to do one thing: correspond. Let's analyze the first part of the axiom, as above, so below. This refers to the connection between the planes of existence. What happens in the mental plane, above cause, must inevitably manifest in the physical plane, below effect. A disconnection cannot exist. It is like gravity. If you release an apple above, it falls below. If you release a thought of intense fear in your mind, above, that fear must densify and fall toward your physical reality, below. This eliminates superstition. People pray to a God up there to fix things down here, while they continue to think negativity. The law says, impossible. For the below to change, you have to change the above. You have to go above, raise your vibration, so that the below reorganizes itself. Now we go to the most painful and liberating part. As within, so without. Imagine you get up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror. You see that your face is dirty and your hair is messy. Do you try to comb the mirror? Do you try to wash the glass? That would be dementia. You know the reflection has no life of its own. For the reflection to change, you have to change. You have to comb yourself, and then, magically, the mirror will show you a clean man. Now, apply this to your boss, to your partner, to your bank account. They are the mirror. If your boss screams at you, the law of correspondence asks you a brutal question. In what part of your interior are you screaming at and disrespecting yourself? The universe does not make mistakes. Your boss is just an actor hired by your subconscious. The moment you change within, the moment you respect and love yourself radically, the mirror changes. Either that boss changes his attitude mysteriously, or he is fired, or you find a better job. The mirror cannot reflect something that is no longer in front of it. Carl Jung understood this law better than anyone. He called it the shadow. He said, "What you deny subdues you. What you accept transforms you." Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. If you see someone arrogant and your blood boils, it is because you have repressed arrogance within you. If you fall in love with someone's light, it is because that light is within you waiting to wake up. We only recognize what we already know. The world is a giant Rorschach test. We do not see things as they are, we see things as we are. If you are a fearful person, you will see a dangerous world. If you are a loving person, you will see a world full of opportunities. Your without will always prove your within right. Your body is the closest part of your without. It is the most faithful correspondent of your mind. Illness is not a random error, it is a correspondence. Western medicine treats the symptom, the printed paper, but metaphysics looks at the digital file. The stomach corresponds to your ability to digest life. If you have ulcers, ask yourself, what situation can I not swallow? The throat corresponds to your expression. What truth are you afraid to say? The back corresponds to support. Lower back pain often corresponds to financial fear. Your biology is a biography. Your cells listen to your internal monologues. If you spend the day thinking, I can't take it anymore, your knees and back will obey and become rigid. Healing begins by changing the internal dialogue. Let's talk about wealth. According to this law, money is not an object that is pursued, it is an effect that is attracted. The money in your account, without, corresponds to the wealth consciousness within. Many people want millions, but inside they have a poverty consciousness. They say money is evil, rich people are thieves. Their within is of lack, therefore their without must manifest lack. Even if they win the lottery, they will lose it all in a few years. Why? Because the mirror will correct itself. The system will seek homeostasis. If a man with a poor mentality receives millions, he will lose the money to be in correspondence with his mind again. On the contrary, if you take everything from a real billionaire, in a few years he will be rich again. His within is of abundance. If this law is exact, why do I not change instantly? Why do I think I am rich today and I am not rich tomorrow? There is a delay due to the density of matter. Imagine you are on a large ship. You turn the rudder, you change your within. The ship does not turn 90 degrees in a second. It takes time to overcome inertia. For a few days you will still see the old landscape, poverty, even though you have already turned the rudder. Most people see the landscape doesn't change and they let go of the rudder. The master understands the delay. He knows that if his within has changed, the without is inevitable. It is law. Keep holding the new internal state with blind faith until physical reality bends and corresponds. Patience is knowledge of gestation times. Observe your room. Observe your car. Are they tidy or are they a mess? Jordan Peterson made the phrase, "clean your room," famous. It is pure metaphysics. If you live in a chaotic physical environment, it is a manifestation that your mind is chaotic. It works in both directions. Your mind creates external disorder, and external disorder reinforces mental chaos. If you want to apply the law of correspondence today, start with the physical. Clean your house. Throw away what is useless. By ordering the without, you are sending a powerful signal to the within. You are saying, "I am order." Moving furniture moves energy. Do not underestimate your immediate environment. It is the extension of your aura. Make it correspond to the life you want. The law of correspondence gives you the power of reverse engineering. You don't need to go to a hypnotist to know your limiting beliefs. Just look at your life. Are you always abandoned? You have an internal belief of abandonment. Does money fly away? You have a belief that money burns. Are you always tired? You have an internal resistance to life. Your life is the diagnosis. Do not get angry with the symptom. Thank it. It is telling you exactly where you have to work within. Let's go back to the phrase, "as above, so below." This also means that you are a microcosm of the universe, macrocosm. Everything that exists in the universe exists in potential within you. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop. Infinite intelligence is encoded in your DNA. You have the power to create worlds. Your world is your small galaxy. Your thoughts are your solar systems. When you assume this greatness, you stop begging. You realize you have the authority to decree over your own microcosm. Key 3, the law of vibration. Nikola Tesla, the man who illuminated the 20th century, and whose secrets we still try to decipher, left us the ultimate instruction. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He did not say, think in matter. He did not say, think in luck. He said, vibration. We have reached the third great Hermetic law, the law that explains why thought becomes thing, the law that forever destroys the illusion of death and stillness, the law of vibration. Its axiom is absolute. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. Look at your hand. It seems solid, right? Strike the table. It sounds hard, right? Your senses are lying to you. If you put your hand under an atomic power microscope, what would you see? You would not see flesh. You would see molecules. If you looked inside the molecules, you would see atoms. Inside the atoms, you would see protons, neutrons, and electrons. And what do those electrons do? They are spinning at dizzying speeds around the nucleus. There is more relative distance between the electron and the nucleus than between the Earth and the Sun. 99.99999% of your hand is empty space, and that space is not empty. It is full of vibrating energy. You are not a solid being. You are an orchestra of frequencies. You are condensed light. You are frozen music. The only reason you don't pass through the chair you are sitting on is because the chair vibrates at a frequency that repels the frequency of your atoms. It is a clash of force fields, not of matter. Why is this the key to your destiny? Because if everything is vibration, then the difference between things is only a difference of speed. The difference between ice, water, and steam is not chemical. It is vibratory. Increase the vibration of ice, and it flows. Increase it more, and it flies. Steam. The difference between poverty and wealth is not luck. It is frequency. The difference between disease and health is frequency. If you manage to change the speed at which your mental and emotional atoms vibrate, you change your state from solid to liquid, from lead to gold. Welcome to the mechanics of magic. To understand this law and stop being a victim of it, you must understand the radio metaphor. We live in an ocean of radio waves, Wi-Fi and cell signals. Right now, in the room where you are, the signals of all radio stations, all TV channels, and thousands of phone calls are passing through. Do you see them? No. Do you hear them? No. Does it mean they don't exist? No. It means you are not tuned into them. Your brain and your heart are the most sophisticated transmitter and receiver apparatus in the cosmos. You are emitting a constant signal to the quantum field. That signal is your vibratory frequency. This frequency is composed of the sum of your thoughts, electric, and your emotions, magnetic. If you are vibrating at the frequency of fear, say 100 Hz, your internal radio is tuned to the station Fear FM. What programs does that station broadcast? It broadcasts news of crises. It broadcasts aggressive people. It broadcasts accidents. It broadcasts scarcity. You might say, but I don't want to hear this. I hate this music. But as long as your dial remains at 100 Hz, it is the only thing you will catch. You can scream at the radio, but if you don't turn the dial, the music will remain the same. The law of attraction is simply the station manager. He ensures you receive exactly what you are transmitting, but the law of vibration is the signal itself. If you want to listen to the station Wealth FM, say 500 Hz, you cannot stay at 100 Hz and expect a miracle to happen. You have to raise your vibration, you have to turn the dial. The moment you touch 500 Hz, the music of poverty disappears and the music of opportunity begins to play. Not because the opportunity appeared out of nowhere, it was always there. But now you have the equipment to decode it. We are not talking about good vibes in a hippie sense. We are talking about physics. Dr. David Hawkins created a map of consciousness calibrated logarithmically. He demonstrated that human emotions have measurable and predictable frequencies. Low vibrations, hell on earth. At the bottom of the pit are shame and guilt. They are the frequencies closest to death. Then they rise a bit toward apathy, suffering, and fear. Fear vibrates low, very slow. It is dense. When you are afraid, you feel heavy. Your energy densifies. Then comes anger. The turning point. The change occurs at courage. Here you begin to take power. High vibrations, heaven on earth. Here enter neutrality, willingness, and acceptance. And higher up, the master frequencies, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. When you are in love or very joyful, you feel light. You say, I walk on clouds. It is literal. Your atoms spin so fast that gravity affects you less emotionally. Here is the brutal key. A high vibration dominates and dissolves a low vibration. Always. Just as light dissolves darkness, a person vibrating in love and peace is immune to a person vibrating in anger. Physics teaches us the principle of sympathetic resonance. If you have two pianos in a room and you strike the note C on one of them, the string of the note C on the other piano will begin to vibrate on its own, without touching it. The energy traveled through the air and activated the string that had the same frequency, but the string of the note E did not move. This explains why you attract what you attract. If you are vibrating in victim, you are sending a signal that travels through the city looking for someone who vibrates in victimizer. When that signal finds an abuser, their internal string vibrates. They look at you and say, "There it is, that is my dance partner." You are magnetically attracted by resonance. You were not a victim of bad luck. You were a victim of your own transmission. You activated the abuser. If you had vibrated in dignity and self-love, the abuser would have passed by. And then there is entrainment. Pendulum clocks on the same wall end up synchronizing. The system with the strongest and most stable vibration pulls the weaker one. If you enter a very strong negative environment, a toxic office, you will be dragged down. You will lower your frequency to fit in. But if you become a master, if your vibration of peace is an immovable pillar, you pull the office. You walk in and the chaos calms down. People feel better without knowing why. You are a tuning fork of God, tuning the world. The frequency of money, or rather of wealth, is a frequency of freedom, appreciation, security, and joy. If you want money but you feel trapped, you complain about prices, you are afraid to spend, and you envy the rich, you are vibrating in scarcity. Scarcity and wealth are two different radio stations. You cannot listen to Wealth FM by tuning into Scarcity AM. It is physically impossible for money to flow to you and stay with you if your vibration is dense. The money will bounce. Money cannot stand to be in a house, your energy field, where there is no resonance. To attract money, you have to vibrate rich before having the money. And how do you vibrate rich without a cent in your pocket? By appreciating. Gratitude is the frequency closest to abundance. When you appreciate what you have, you emit the signal of "I have." And the universe responds, "Send him more." Tell me who you walk with, and I will tell you how you vibrate. Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The law of vibration confirms this mathematically. If you spend your time with 5 people who vibrate in complaining and defeat, you will be the 6th. By pure law of entrainment, your energy will level with theirs to create harmony in the group. If you want to raise your vibration fast, change your environment. Get close to people who vibrate higher than you. People who talk about ideas, not people. Projects, not problems. You will feel discomfort at first. That discomfort is good. It is the sound of your strings stretching to tune to a higher note. If you cannot change physical friends, use virtual friends. Read books by great masters. Listen to audios like this. You are catching their genius. How do I turn the dial? I wake up sad, depressed, or anxious. How do I change my frequency? You cannot change a thought with another thought when you are low. You have to use physiology and action to hack the vibration. Physical movement. Emotion is energy in motion. If energy stagnates, depression, move it. Jump, run, dance. Breathe hard. Change your posture. Lift your head. It is impossible to vibrate in depression with your chest open and looking at the sky. Biology forces the vibration to rise. The spoken word, sound. Sound is pure vibration. Stop saying low vibration words. Problem, hate, impossible, poor me. Use high frequency words. Challenge, opportunity, love, thank you, I am. The simple act of pronouncing the word thank you repeatedly begins to reorganize your auric field. Vibrational diet. You don't just eat food. You eat images, sounds, and conversations. If you watch horror movies and tragic news, you are ingesting vibratory poison. Protect your eyes and ears. Eat living foods, fruits, vegetables. The vibration of what you eat becomes your vibration. Careful here. The law of vibration does not mean you should pretend you are happy when you are dying inside. That is not high vibration. That is resistance. And resistance is a low vibration in disguise. If you feel sadness, do not repress it. Repressing is freezing the vibration inside your body. That creates disease. Vibration must flow. If you feel sadness, allow yourself to feel it fully. Observe it, weep, and then let it go. That is transmutation. Masters feel the pain, but they don't stay to live in it. They let it pass through them like a wave. Neville Goddard taught us that the feeling is the secret. The feeling is your vibratory GPS. How do you know what you are attracting? Do not look at your vision board. Look at how you feel. If you visualize your new car but feel anxiety for not having it, you are vibrating in absence. You will attract more absence. If you visualize your new car and feel the real emotion, the smell of leather, the gratitude of driving it, you are vibrating in presence. You will attract the car. The universe does not hear what you say, it hears what you feel. The feeling is the vibration that magnetizes the quantum field. Maintaining your high vibration is your #1 priority. Because if your vibration falls, you serve no one. From the pit, you can help no one. From the top, you can lift everyone. The healthy selfishness of taking care of your energy is the greatest act of love toward the world. When you master the law of vibration, you reach immunity. You become transparent to evil. Since evil is a low and dense vibration, and you vibrate high and fast, evil passes through you without touching you. There is no hook where it can grab hold. Jesus said, "The prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me." It means there is nothing in my vibration that resonates with his darkness. Accidents and tragedies inhabit the low-frequency bands. When you raise your consciousness, you literally disappear from the radar of those timelines. Key 4. The Law of Polarity Alchemy. If you have ever wondered how the great masters of history were able to maintain calm in the midst of the storm, or how they turned their greatest tragedies into their greatest triumphs, the answer is here. It was not stoicism, it was not repression, it was knowledge of the fourth great law. Hermes Trismegistus gave us the secret. Hermes Trismegistus delivered the secret of true magic in this axiom. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. This is the law of polarity, and it is the very foundation of all mental alchemy. The ancient alchemists were not obsessed with converting physical lead into physical gold just out of greed. That was the smokescreen to hide their true work, transmuting the lead of human emotions, fear, hate, poverty, into the gold of the spirit, courage, love, wealth. The law reveals a truth that breaks the matrix. Opposites are one. They have taught you that good and evil, light and darkness, heat and cold are enemies fighting each other. It is a lie. They are simply the two ends of the same scale, and if they are the same thing, you can slide from one end to the other at will. You do not have to destroy fear, you only have to raise it. You don't have to kill poverty. 1. The illusion of the thermometer. To understand this law without falling into madness, look at a thermometer. Look at the red line. Can you tell me with scientific exactness at what point cold ends and heat begins? Is it at 0 degrees? At 10? At 20? For an Eskimo, 10 degrees is heat. For someone from the tropics, 10 is deadly cold. The terms heat and cold are subjective. They do not exist as absolute entities. All that exists is temperature. Heat and cold are just names we give to different degrees of vibration of temperature. Cold is not a thing in itself. You cannot create cold. Cold is simply the absence of heat or a lower vibration of the temperature. Heat is a high vibration. If you want to warm a cold room, you don't have to take the cold out with a shovel through the window. That is impossible. What you do is increase the heat. By introducing heat, high vibration, the cold, low vibration, disappears automatically because they are the same. One simply becomes the other very easily. Now take this to your mind. Fear and courage are the same thing. Both are expectations about the future. Fear is the expectation that something will go wrong, low vibration. Courage, or faith, is the expectation that something will go right or that you can handle it, high vibration. Since they are the same energy, you can transmute them. But you cannot transmute fear into an apple because they are different in nature. Alchemy only works between poles of the same nature. 2. Love and hate, the same coin. This is where modern psychology begins to coincide with Hermeticism. We have always been told that the opposite of love is hate. The law of polarity says, no, it is not. Love and hate are the same passional energy, vibrating at opposite poles. That is why it is so easy to go from intense love to intense hate in a second. Think of a passionate breakup. The line is very thin. The switch slides fast because they are on the same circuit. You can transform the hate of an enemy into love much easier than indifference. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love and hate is indifference. Indifference is the absence of emotional energy. It is the dead point. But where there is hate, there is fire, and that fire can be purified and converted into love. This is a powerful tool. If you feel deep hate for a situation, like poverty, be very glad. You have energy. You have passion. That hate is fuel. It is just misdirected. If you take that fury and polarize it toward the other extreme, toward a fierce determination to prosper, that same energy that was killing you becomes the rocket that takes you out of the pit. The lukewarm, the indifferent, are the only ones who cannot use alchemy. 3. The art of polarization. So how do we apply the magic? The art is called polarization. It consists of the ability to change your own mental polarity at will, regardless of what happens outside. Imagine you are in a financial crisis. Your automatic mind goes to the negative pole, fear, scarcity, ruin. Most people stay there frozen. The mental alchemist recognizes the situation. I am in the negative pole of wealth. He does not deny reality. He does not say, I am rich, like a madman, but he understands the structure. He knows that if poverty exists, by law, wealth must exist at the other end of the same rod. A stick with only one end cannot exist in this universe. If you have the end of debt in your hand, hold it tight because the end of fortune is attached to it. Your job is not to fight debt. Your job is to slide. You begin to focus your attention, little by little, on the positive pole. You look for things to be grateful for. You look for solutions, you visualize, you raise the thermometer. At first it is hard, like pushing a rock. But as you raise the vibration, law 3, the external reality begins to warm up. Opportunities appear. You have transmuted lead into gold. 4. The problem contains the solution. This is the practical application. Every problem brings in its hands the gift of its own solution. It's never separate. The solution is not something separate from the problem. They are the two poles of the same event. You cannot have an up without a down. You cannot have a question without an answer. If the problem has appeared in your life, it means, by immutable law, that the solution already exists simultaneously. They were born together as twins. When you face an impossible obstacle, do not despair. Apply polarity. Say, if this problem is so big, it means the solution and the benefit I will get from it is just as big. The darker the negative pole, the brighter the positive. Great global crises create great fortunes. Great diseases lead to great health discoveries in time. Your great current pain is the seed of your great life mission. Stop looking at the pole of the problem. Turn around. Look for the other end of the stick. It is there. The question, how do I get out of this, already contains the seed of the exit. Have absolute certainty that the solution is in the room with you, just at a different degree. 5. The advantage of the bottom, the spring effect. There is a secret advantage in hitting rock bottom. When you are at the most negative extreme of polarity, total depression, total bankruptcy, you are in a position of massive potential power. The pendulum has reached the limit. It can only go in one direction, toward the other side. People who live in the middle zone, in mediocre comfort, rarely achieve great things. They have no polar tension. But he who is in hell has a motivation that burns. If you use the law of polarity, you can use the momentum of hitting the bottom to catapult yourself to the top. Many millionaires started the day they slept in a car. Extreme pain, negative pole, generated an extreme decision, movement toward the positive pole. Bless your bottom. It is the launch pad. 6. Light and darkness, the need for contrast. Why does evil exist? Why does pain exist? The law of polarity gives you the metaphysical answer. Because without darkness you could not perceive the light. Without cold you could not enjoy heat. Without the experience of lack you could not experience the joy of abundance. We live in a dual universe to be able to have experience. If everything were constant white light, you would be blind. You need shadows to see shapes. Contrast is necessary for consciousness. Do not hate your dark moments. They are the contrast that defines your moments of light. Because you knew sadness, today you can taste joy. Because you were poor, today you value every cent and enjoy your wealth. The Master does not seek to eliminate darkness from the world, The master seeks to choose consciously in which pole he wants to dwell, but respects the other. He knows that the battery needs the positive and negative poles to generate current. Life is current. Accept duality, but choose your location. 7. Neutralizing the pendulum. The law of polarity has a trap, rhythm, which we will see in the next law. Things tend to oscillate. Today you are happy, tomorrow you are sad. It is a cycle. Today you are motivated, tomorrow apathetic. Most people are corks floating on these waves, going up and down without control. The initiate learns the art of neutralization. He learns to polarize in the positive and anchor himself there. How? Through will and detachment. When you are in the positive pole, success, you do not attach. When the pendulum tries to drag you to the negative, failure, you refuse to go down with it. You remain an observer. You say, look, a negative situation. Interesting. But I decide to maintain my internal state in positive. This requires practice. It is what the Bible calls being in the world but not being of the world truly. Your body may be in a prison, physical negative pole, but your mind can be free, mental positive pole. Viktor Frankl in the concentration camps is the supreme example. His environment was absolute hell. His mind polarized toward meaning and hope. The environment could not drag his mind. He won the battle of polarity in the end. 8. The technique of the mental slider. To apply this today, I want you to visualize a DJ's mixing desk or an equalizer. Imagine you have several faders, sliders in your mind. Each slider controls an emotion or situation: fear, courage, poverty, wealth, sickness, health, sadness, joy. Move them with your will now. When you feel bad, close your eyes. Identify which slider is low. Okay, my confidence slider is at level 2, fear. Do not judge yourself. Do not get angry. Now, with your imagination, put your mental finger on that slider and think, I am going to raise it to level 5. How? By changing your physiology, by changing your focus. Breathe. Okay, I'm at level 5. I'm going to raise it to 8. Visualize the positive result. Feel the strength. Turn the slider up. You are the DJ. The music of your life depends on how you adjust those controls. No one else can put their hand on your mixing desk. If the music sounds sad, it's because you have the controls down. Turn them up today. 9. The lie of labels. The law of polarity teaches us that the labels good and bad are mental traps. Nothing is absolutely good or absolutely bad. Snake venom kills, bad. But it is also used to make medicine, good. Rain ruins your picnic, bad. But it waters the farmer's crop, good. Everything depends on your perception. Stop labeling everything that happens to you as a misfortune. By putting the bad label, you freeze the event in the negative pole. You prevent yourself from seeing the hidden benefit. Change the label. Say, this is a neutral event. I decide to polarize it toward the positive. I was fired. Not bad. It's the push to start a business. My partner left me. Not bad. It is the freedom to find someone who resonates with me or to love myself. The alchemist does not look for positive events. The alchemist makes events positive. He takes the lead that life throws at him and converts it into gold with his attitude. This is the true power of the law of polarity in life. Key 5, the law of rhythm, the flow. Listen to your heart. Put your hand on your chest. Feel the beat and the silence. The beat and the silence. Feel your breath. You inhale. You exhale. You cannot inhale forever. If you try, you will die. You have to release the air to take it again. Look at the sky. The sun rises, the sun sets, the moon waxes, the moon wanes. Welcome. Welcome to the 5th great law of the universe, the law that governs time, history, economy, and your own mind. The law of rhythm. The Kybalion defines it with a terrifying and beautiful poetry. Everything flows and reflows. Everything has its periods of advance and retreat. Everything rising and falling. Everything moves like a pendulum. The measure of its movement to the right is the same as the measure of its movement to the left. Rhythm is compensation. We live in a pulsating universe. Nothing is static. There is no such thing as an eternal, straight upward line. The modern belief in infinite and linear growth is a lie against nature that causes 90% of human suffering. We suffer because we believe happiness should be permanent. We suffer because we believe the economy should always grow. We suffer because when the winter of our life arrives, we think we have failed, instead of understanding that it is simply winter. This law is not here to depress you. It is here to set you free. It is for liberation. By understanding rhythm, you stop fighting the tide. You learn to be a surfer. The surfer does not cry when the wave goes down. He uses the momentum to prepare for the next rise. Today, we are going to learn how to surf reality. 1. The universal pendulum. The clearest image to understand this law is the pendulum. Imagine a giant playground swing. If you push the swing very hard forward, toward success, euphoria, expansion, by pure physical law, the swing must return backward with the same force and cover the same distance. This is vital. The measure of the movement to the right is the measure of the movement to the left. If you have overwhelming joy today, prepare for the fall. The law dictates that tomorrow you will have a proportional drop towards sadness or apathy. It is the principle of compensation. Nature seeks balance, the 0 point. If you move too far from the center to one side, gravity will pull you to the other side with violence. This explains why lottery winners usually end up in total bankruptcy. The movement was too fast and artificial toward the right. The backward swing toward the left was devastating. This explains why obsessive, love-at-first-sight relationships usually end in deep hate and toxic wars. The higher the ego's rocket rises, the harder the fall. The Hermetic master observes the pendulum and looks for stability. He does not seek extreme peaks of euphoria because he knows the price is depression. He seeks peace. Peace is the center. In the center, the pendulum barely moves. The joy of the master is gentle and constant, not explosive and volatile. 2. The cycles of life, winter and summer. The law of rhythm manifests in specific temporal cycles. Everything has a birth, growth, maturity, decay, and death to be reborn. This applies to your body, your business, your relationships, nations, and stars. The tragedy of modern man is that he wants to live in an eternal summer. He wants his business to always invoice more than the previous month. He wants the spark to stay exactly the same. This is spiritual infantilism. Winter is necessary. Winter is not death, it is rest, it is gestation. The earth needs the cold to kill pests and rest before producing again in spring. If you are going through a winter in your life, loneliness, scarcity, illness, the law of rhythm gives you two pieces of news. It is inevitable and temporary. You didn't necessarily do anything wrong. It is the cycle. Everything flows and reflows. Winter cannot last forever. By law, spring is on the way. The key is what you do during the winter. The fool spends the winter crying and complaining about the cold. He wastes his energy. When spring arrives, he is exhausted and cannot sow at all. The wise man takes advantage of the winter. He rests, he sharpens his tools, he reads, he plans, he meditates, he strengthens himself from within. When spring arrives, and it always arrives, the wise man is ready to jump and sow with renewed strength. Do not judge your life by the season you are in. Do not cut a tree in winter. Wait. 3. The trap of economy and business. If you are an entrepreneur or investor, this law is your Bible. Markets move by rhythm. There are expansion cycles, bull market, and contraction cycles, bear market. The ignorant mass becomes euphoric in expansion. They buy expensive, they spend what they don't have. They think the party will never end. The law of rhythm says, what goes up must come down. When the recession, the ebb, arrives, the masses panic. They sell cheap, they get depressed, they believe the world is ending. The initiate, who knows the law, does the opposite. In expansion, he is prudent, he saves for winter. He is not carried away by the collective euphoria of the era. In recession, he is brave. He knows it is the time of the ebb, so he buys cheap. He knows the tide will rise again. Warren Buffett summarized it perfectly. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. That is applying the law. If your business has a bad month, do not panic. It is the rhythm, it is an exhalation. Use that time to review processes, to improve the product. Rhythm separates professionals from amateurs. The amateur quits on the way down. The professional uses the downswing to gain momentum for the next rise. 4. The hermetic secret, the law of neutralization. So far it seems we are slaves to the pendulum, condemned to rise and fall. Are we condemned to laugh and cry like puppets of fate? Is there any way to escape? Yes. The Hermetic masters discovered the secret to bypass the law of rhythm, or at least not to be crushed by it. They called it the law of neutralization. The master polarizes himself at the point where he desires to rest and neutralizes the swing. This means rising above the pendulum. Imagine that the pendulum swings in the lower plane, unconscious emotional plane. If you are standing in that plane, the pendulum hits you and drags you from side to side. But you have a higher plane, conscious spiritual plane. If you raise your consciousness, the pendulum still moves below you. The external events continue to happen. The economy drops, people get angry. But it does not drag you emotionally. It is like flying a plane over a storm. The storm, the rhythm, is still down there. It rains, there is thunder. But you are above, seeing the sun. Neutralizing does not mean stopping the rhythm. It means refusing to participate. 5. How to apply neutralization, the technique. When you feel the tide starting to go down, you feel sad for no reason, or things start to go wrong, your instinct is to let yourself be carried away by sadness. It is becoming sad. It is identifying with the pendulum. Neutralization requires an act of iron will. You must polarize your mind. In that moment you say, I feel the rhythm is dropping. My body wants to be sad, the world wants me to be afraid. But I, my higher self, decide to remain in peace. You let the wave pass under you. You watch the sadness like someone watching a train pass, but you do not get on the train. You stay firm in your assumption of who you are. This is difficult. It requires practice. At first, the pendulum will hit you, but with time you develop stability. You become a rock in the middle of the sea. The waves rise and fall. They wet you, but they do not move you. The master enjoys the rise, but does not fear the fall. He knows his internal state does not depend on the external rhythm. 6. Solomon's ring. This too shall pass. There is an ancient legend about King Solomon. The king, being the wisest man on earth, sought a phrase that would be true in all situations, for all men, a phrase that would serve to not get depressed in misfortune, but also to not lose one's head in glory. The wise men found the magic phrase. This too shall pass. This is the law of rhythm condensed into 4 words. When you are at the peak of success, when everyone applauds you, look at your ring and remember, this too shall pass. That will keep you humble. It will prevent the arrogance that precedes the fall. It will make you prudent. When you are in the pit, remember it. When you think the pain has no end, remember, this too shall pass. That will give you hope. It will give you the strength to resist one more day. Nothing is permanent. Not your youth, nor your pain, nor your empire, nor your poverty. The universe is a constant dance. To cling to a moment is to try to catch river water with your bare hands. 7. Rhythm in relationships, the porcupine's dance. The law of rhythm explains why human relationships are so complicated. Schopenhauer used the metaphor of porcupines. In winter, porcupines are cold and huddle together for warmth, approach rhythm. But when they get too close, they prick each other with their spines so they move apart. Then they get cold again and huddle together once more. All relationships have a rhythm of intimacy and distance. There are times when you want to be glued to your partner 24 hours a day, and there are times, the ebb, where you need solitude, space, and silence. The problem arises when one person wants space and the other panics today. The anxious one pursues the one who pulls away, breaking the natural rhythm and destroying the relationship. Understand people's rhythm. If someone moves away, let them go. It is their winter. If you respect their rhythm, they will return in their spring, because the pendulum always returns. If you force it, you break the mechanism. 8. The dark night of the soul. On the spiritual path, the rhythm is brutal. You will have moments of enlightenment where you feel one with God, full of faith and power. And then, without warning, the dark night of the soul will arrive. You will feel abandoned. You will feel that everything is a lie. Your faith will dry up in the sun. Many seekers quit here. They think they failed. You haven't failed. It's the rhythm. The tide has gone out to clean the ocean floor. The dark night is necessary to purify your ego. It is the trial by fire. Can you maintain your faith when you don't feel the presence of God? If you persist, the sunrise that follows is a much brighter light. 9. Hacking the rhythm. Consistency. How do you build something lasting in a world that is constantly changing? With consistency. Consistency is the human antidote to the chaos of rhythm. If you only go to the gym when you are motivated, high rhythm, you will never be in shape. Success belongs to those who work regardless of the rhythm. The professional writer writes even if he has no inspiration. The athlete trains even if he is tired. By maintaining constant action, regardless of how you feel, neutralization, you create your own artificial rhythm. You create a momentum that overcomes friction. You become independent of the emotional climate. You gain total control. Practical exercise, the cycle journal. To master this law, you must first observe it. I suggest you keep a rhythm journal for 1 month. Note your energy level, mood, and productivity from 1 to 10 every day. At the end of the month, you will see a pattern. You will see that you have high and low days that repeat with certain precision. Once you know your rhythm, you can plan. Do not schedule the most difficult meeting of your life on your winter days. Schedule it on your summer days. Use your low days for mechanical tasks, cleaning, tidying, answering emails. Use your high days for creative tasks and expansion. Stop fighting your nature. Flow and optimize it. Key 6. The law of cause and effect, karma. If the previous laws taught you how reality works, this law teaches you how to govern it. It is the law that forever removes the word chance from your vocabulary. It is the law that makes man responsible for his own happiness and his own misery. The 6th great Hermetic principle declares that every cause has its own certain effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name given to a law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Read it well. Nothing escapes the law. There is no accident. There is no miracle in the sense of a total break in natural laws. There is no good luck or bad luck. We live in a cosmos, which means order, not in a chaos. If there were a single event in the universe that was truly random, an effect without a cause, the entire universe would collapse instantly. The mathematical logic of existence would break. This law is terrifying for the victim because it hurts. It takes away the excuse of saying, "Poor me, look what happened to me." But it is the most empowering law for the initiate. Because if nothing is a coincidence, it means that everything can be caused. If your current life is an effect, it means you set the causes in motion in the past. If you change the causes today, you control tomorrow. You no longer have to guess your future. You can architect it. 1. The death of luck. Let's start by destroying humanity's greatest myth, luck. Imagine you throw dice. They land on the number 6. You say, "It's chance." The Hermeticist says, "No, it's a complex physical equation that you ignore. Luck is just a name for unknown causes." If you could measure the exact force of your hand, the weight of the die, the air resistance, the friction and gravity, you could calculate with 100% precision that the die would land on 6. It wasn't chance. It was a chain of causes and effects, invisible to the human eye but visible to the law. The same thing happens with your life. That stroke of luck your neighbor had in getting rich was not luck. It was the result of thousands of small causes, preparation, mindset, contacts that converged into a visible effect. That sudden illness was not bad luck. It was the accumulation of years of poor diet, stress, and toxic thoughts that finally collapsed the system. We call luck the causes we cannot see or understand. It is a term for the ignorant. The master does not believe in luck. The master believes in sowing and reaping. If you see someone harvesting wheat, you don't say, "How lucky wheat came out." You know that months ago he sowed wheat. Your life is your harvest. Stop waiting for money. 2. Karma, physics, not punishment. In the East, they call this law karma. Unfortunately, the West has distorted karma into a kind of divine punishment. If you are bad, God will punish you. That is a childish view. Karma is not moral. Karma is mechanical. It is like electricity. If you put your finger in the socket, you get a shock. Electricity doesn't hate you. It's not punishing you for being a sinner. Simply, electricity follows its nature. Cause, finger in socket. Effect, shock. The universe is a system of mirrors and echoes. What you send returns, not because someone is keeping a list, but because energy moves in circles. It is the boomerang law. If you throw a boomerang of hate, it will go around the world and hit you in the back of the head when you least expect it. If you throw a boomerang of help and love, it will return loaded with blessings. People ask, why do bad things happen to good people? The answer is hard, because they set in motion causes of suffering unconsciously. Perhaps they are good on the outside, but in their minds, mentalism, they are full of fear, guilt, and resentment. The law responds to the internal vibration, not the external smile. Ignorance of the law does not exempt you. If you drink poison thinking it's water, you die. If you sow negativity, you reap pain just the same. 3. Thoughts as primary causes. Here is the secret to hacking the law of cause and effect. Most people try to manipulate effects with physical causes. I have no money, effect, so I will work more hours, physical cause. That works, but it is slow and exhausting. The initiate knows that the primary causes are mental, it's the root. Everything in the physical world existed first as a thought. The chair you sit in was first an idea. The war was first a conflict in the mind. Your financial breakdown was first a belief in lack in your subconscious. If you want to change the effects of your life radically, do not move the pieces on the physical board. Move them in mind. A thought charged with emotion is the most powerful cause that exists. A thought of I am a failure repeated every day sets in motion invisible machinery that will sabotage every interview and every relationship. Your thought is operating the law with precision to prove you are a failure. Change the cause and the effect must change. 4. The dangerous time lag. If the law is so exact, why do the corrupt prosper and the righteous suffer? This question makes millions lose faith. The answer lies in the time lag. In the physical plane, there is a space of time between the sowing and the harvest. If you plant an oak seed today, you don't have a tree tomorrow. The problem is that people sow a seed of evil today, steal, cheat, and the next day they see they still have money. Their mind says, "Ha, I got away with it. The law doesn't exist." Grave error. The seed is underground. It is germinating. The effect is on its way. It can take years, but when it arrives, the tree of problems will crush them. Similarly, good people do noble actions today, and tomorrow they still have problems. They say, "God abandoned me." Error. You are watering the seed. The oak of blessing is growing. If you dig up the seed out of impatience, you kill the effect. Faith is simply the ability to trust the law during the time lag. The math will always add up. 5. Pawns versus players. The Kybalion makes a master distinction between the masses and the masters. Most people are pawns on the board of life. They are moved by the wills of others, by heredity, by the weather, by the news, by their own instincts. They do not cause anything, they are caused. They say, "You made me angry." Effect. The master refuses to be an effect. The master rises to the higher plane and becomes a cause. He says, "No one makes me angry, I decide how to react." He says, "The economy is bad, but I create my own wealth." The master moves the pieces. He is not moved by them. To apply this, ask, am I going to be a cause or an effect today? Slaves react. Kings initiate. 6. The butterfly effect. Modern physics has discovered the sensitive dependence on initial conditions. A butterfly's wings in Brazil can trigger a tornado in Texas weeks later. A small cause can generate a massive effect by accumulation. This means your small daily actions have a nuclear power. That smile you gave the cashier could have changed his mood, which made him treat his son well, which avoided a trauma, which made that child grow up to be a doctor who saved 1,000 lives. You saved 1,000 lives with a smile. Never underestimate your small actions. You are throwing waves into the ocean of eternity. You matter. 7. How to break negative karma. What if you have made mistakes in the past? Are you condemned to suffer the effects forever? Many live terrified by their past. The law is strict, but the laws of polarity and rhythm give us a way out. You can neutralize karma by ceasing to react. Negative karma feeds on the chain reaction of the mind. Someone insults you, cause curious, you get angry and hit them, new cause. They report you, new cause. It is an endless wheel, samsara. The only way to stop the wheel is that when you receive the insult, effect of the past, you do not react. You absorb the blow and transmute it. Respond with silence or forgiveness. You cut the cable. 8. Conscious causation, engineering destiny. Now let's go on the offensive. We want to generate dharma, positive flow. We want to design the life of our dreams. This is called conscious causation. If you want to be rich, effect, you have to study the causes of wealth and apply them. Wealth is not just hard work. It is a set of causes. Causes of wealth, mental abundance thoughts, emotional feeling worthy, and physical providing massive value. If you apply the full set of causes, the effect is inevitable. It's like baking a cake. If you put in the ingredients and heat, you get a cake. You cannot get a stone. The law does not discriminate. It only reads causes. 9. The boomerang of intention. Beware of appearances. Two people can do the same physical action and get opposite results. Person A donates to help from the heart. Person B donates to show off, hating to give. Physically, they did the same, but metaphysically, the causes were opposites. The law of cause and effect reads intention. Intention is the vibratory charge of the cause. That is why doing things out of obligation or reluctantly is sowing bad seeds, even if the action seems good. It is better to do nothing than to do something with hate. Purify your intention. Make sure that what you do from a place of truth. This is the secret of the great law. Key 7. The law of generation. The principle that closes the hermetic cycle and gives life to all the previous ones. Without this law, the others are just sterile theory. This is the law of creation, the law of universal fertility. The Kybalion declares, generation is everywhere. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Generation manifests on all planes. Forget for a moment what modern society has taught you about gender. We are not talking about biology nor social roles. We are talking about cosmic electricity. We are talking about the fundamental mechanics of creation. In the universe, nothing new is born from one alone. Two complementary energies are always needed to generate a third one. It takes positive and negative to create light. It takes the proton and the electron to create the atom. It takes the father and the mother to create the child. You, regardless of your physical sex, possess within your mind both principles, the masculine and the feminine. You are a spiritual androgyne. This is your true creative nature. The reason your desires do not manifest, or your projects are born dead, is that there is a divorce, a war, or an imbalance between your internal masculine and your internal feminine. If you want to give birth to a new life, wealth, health, success, you have to officiate the mystic marriage within your own head and balance your inner forces. One mental gender, the I and the me. Let's break down the human psyche under this law. Your mind is not one single thing. It is two forces dancing, the masculine principle, the conscious, the I. It is the part of you that thinks, analyzes, and decides. It has will. It is the sower. It is the architect. Its energy is direct and electric. The masculine says, I want this, I decide this. The feminine principle, the subconscious, the me. It is the part of you that feels, gestates, nurtures, and memorizes. It is the fertile soil. It is the womb. Its function is to receive and create. Its energy is magnetic and protective. The feminine says, let it be done. I feel it is real. Creation occurs when the masculine principle, a clear thought intention, penetrates the feminine principle, a deep emotion, the subconscious. If this union is successful, a spiritual seed is planted. The feminine takes that seed, protects it, shapes it with the energy of the universe, and after a time of gestation gives birth to it. 2. The impotence of cold affirmations. Here we understand why the law of attraction fails for so many. People use only the masculine principle. They stand up and say, I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. They say it with their conscious mind and willpower, but they feel nothing. Or worse, deep down they feel fear and lack. Their mind is dry. Their feminine principle, subconscious, is dry, closed, or rejecting the seed. It's like throwing wheat seeds onto asphalt. Asphalt is hard. It does not receive. The seed dies. A thought without emotion is an impotent thought. It has no generative power. To create, you have to seduce your own soul. You must enamor your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind must not impose itself violently on your subconscious. It must present the idea of wealth with such clarity and beauty that the subconscious opens up and accepts it with emotion, joy, gratitude, enthusiasm. When the thought, M, touches the emotion, F, the spark occurs. It is that shiver of absolute certainty. 3. The crisis of imbalance. Current society suffers because we have polarized these principles in a toxic way. Excess of masculine, the tyranny of doing. We live in a culture that worships hustle and hard work. People are full of will, but empty of feeling. They try to force reality, they push, they fight, they burn out. This is sterile. The result is stress and empty success. It is a father without a mother. Pure law, no love. Excess of feminine, emotional chaos. On the other extreme, some people are pure feeling and intuition. They visualize and feel good, but they lack direction and will. They are volatile. The result is passivity and fantasy. It's a mother without a father. The Hermetic Magus seeks the sacred balance. He uses his masculine to focus and direct. I want this. He uses his feminine to nurture and magnetize. I feel it is already mine. Inspired action, plus receptive faith. That is the formula of the gods. You must marry your logic with your passion to create a stable and powerful reality. 4. The mystery of gestation. Patience. The law of generation comes with a contract clause. Every birth requires a time of gestation. If you plant a bamboo seed, it takes years to break the surface. If you dig up the earth to see if it grows, you kill it. In the mental world, there are also times you must respect the natural timing. When you have successfully planted the idea in your subconscious, the idea begins to grow in the dark. During this time, your external reality may still look the same. You will still have debts or be alone. Here, the amateur aborts the process. He says, it didn't work. By saying that, he sends a destructive ray to the germinating seed. The law of generation requires you to respect the pregnancy. You don't scream at a pregnant woman asking for the baby on the first month. You know the baby is there, working in silence. You must have the same courtesy with your dreams. They are gestating. Your job is not to doubt, but to nurture. Keep watering with faith, the baby is coming. 5. Sexual transmutation, nuclear fuel. Napoleon Hill dedicated a whole chapter to the mystery of sexual transmutation. It is the most powerful application of the law of generation. Sexual energy is the most powerful creative energy in the universe. It is the only energy capable of creating biological life. Most people waste this fire. They expel it in momentary physical gratification or let it stagnate in lust. The initiate knows that this energy can be transmuted. Instead of dissipating it, he raises it and uses it to impregnate his projects. When you feel a strong sexual urge, do not repress it. Redirect that intensity and fire toward your creative life goals. Visualize your business or your art with that same passion. The greatest geniuses in history, Tesla, Da Vinci, Jobs, had high sexual energy that they channeled into their inventions. They literally made love to their ideas. If you learn to redirect this torrent, you become unstoppable. Your charisma and magnetism become irresistible. 6. The Emperor and the Empress. 2 royal archetypes live within you. To rule your life, you must seat them on the throne. The Emperor, your will, he must be firm but protective. He must not be a tyrant. He must provide direction. The Empress, your imagination. She must be creative and fertile. She must trust the Emperor to create beauty. So observe your internal dialogue. How do your masculine and feminine speak to each other? Do you constantly scold yourself? An abusive masculine. Do you let yourself be carried away by fear without doing anything? An hysterical feminine. Heal the internal relationship. Let your conscious tell your subconscious, I love you, we are safe. 7. Creativity, the seal of divinity. The law of generation tells us that the purpose of life is to create. God is the creator. You, made in his image, are a creator. When you are not creating, you are dying. Depression is often repressed creative energy. It is the principle of generation stagnant and rotting inside. You must generate. It doesn't matter what you create, a business, a garden, a book, or a happy family. But you have to be generating something new constantly. Generation is the flow of life renewing itself. If you feel stuck, ask, what am I gestating? Am I pregnant with a dream? If the answer is no, find a seed. Life needs to flow through you to be alive. 8. The father and mother of wealth. Let's apply this to money. To generate wealth, you need both poles. The father of wealth, strategy, business plan, investment, marketing, logic. The mother of wealth, intuition, creativity, empathy, passion, the hunch. If you only have the father, you will have a dry business with no soul. If you only have the mother, you will have an expensive, disorganized hobby that never generates real profit. You need the union. You need the structure, M, to hold the flow, F. You need the riverbanks to be firm, M, so that the water can flow with power, F. This balance is the only way to achieve true and lasting financial abundance. 9. Hacking the law, nightly autosuggestion. The moment where mental marriage occurs most easily is the theta state, before sleep. Why? Because during the day, the masculine principle is hyperactive, analyzing and fighting. But when sleeping, the masculine tires and retreats. The feminine principle remains receptive and open. It is the moment of mental copulation. Just before sleep, when your logic turns off, introduce the image of what you desire. The feminine receives it without argument. During the night, in the darkness of sleep, the magic of generation occurs. Every night is an opportunity for conception. Do not sleep with worries, sleep with your ideal. Key 8. The law of attraction. We have reached key number 8. Probably this is the reason you entered the world of metaphysics. It is the law that became famous in the early 2000s, promising that if you visualized a check on the ceiling, money would fall into your mailbox. But if you are here listening to this, you have likely tried it and felt disappointed. You made your vision board. You repeated your affirmations, and the Ferrari did not appear, your ex did not come back, the lottery did not hit. Is the law a lie? No. The law is as real as gravity. But what they sold you was a childish, cut-down version of a much more complex cosmic machinery. They told you, ask, believe, and receive. But they forgot to explain that the universe does not speak Spanish or English or Chinese. The universe does not listen to your words. The universe is a blind system for managing frequencies. The law of attraction is not a magic wand that grants wishes to good children. It is a secondary law of the law of vibration. It is order. It is simply the principle that like attracts like. Today we are going to graduate from the childish version. We are going to enter the advanced engineering of attraction. You are going to understand why you attract what you don't want and how to become a living magnet for what you truly desire. It is time to master your vibration. 1. The fundamental error, wanting versus being. Here is the number one reason why you failed. The law of attraction does not attract what you want. Mark this in your mind. You can want to be a millionaire with all your soul. You can cry for it. You can write it 1,000 times. If we attracted what we wanted, beggars would be kings. The law declares, you attract what you are. You attract your vibrational identity. If you say, I want money, you are vibrating in the frequency of lack. Only those who do not have, want. The statement, I want, confirms the absence of the object. Since the law of attraction is a faithful servant, it brings you more wanting situations. To attract money, you must stop wanting it and start having it vibrationally. You have to be rich in your consciousness before the money arrives. This seems like an unfair paradox. How am I going to feel rich if I don't have a cent? That is the work of the magus. The magus uses his imagination to generate the feeling of wealth. When you manage to feel abundant, secure, and generous without having money, the law must match the frequencies. It hastens to bring real money to fill the void, so your reality matches your vibration. Do not chase, attract. The one who chases confirms that the object is moving away. The one who attracts stays still in his certainty. 2. Your brain, the Google of reality, the RAS. Let's go to biology. You don't need blind faith. You have a brain designed for this. At the base of your brain, there is a filter called the reticular activating system, RAS. Your brain receives millions of bits of information per second. If you processed everything, you would go crazy. The RAS is the gatekeeper. Its job is to delete 99% of reality and let through only what is important to you. How does it know what is important? You tell it with your attention and beliefs. If you believe life is hard and people are bad, your RAS receives the order. Filter everything good out, only let me see the evil. You will walk down the street, and you will not see the business opportunity nor the kind person. You will literally have a blind spot. But you will see the robbery and the insult in high definition. You will say, "See, I was right." No, the world is everything. You are just seeing the channel you tuned into. Attraction is attention. When you change your program and say, "I am a magnet for opportunities," you reprogram the RS. Suddenly, you start to see things that were always there. You see the partner wanted sign. You hear the conversation that gives you the $1 million idea. It seems like magic. In reality, the universe always had it there for you. 3. The missing link. Inspired action. This is where The Secret did a lot of damage. It created the idea that you can sit on the couch, visualize a check, and someone will slide it under your door while you eat pizza. That is not metaphysics. That is laziness. We live in a physical universe. Energy needs physical channels to appear. There are two types of action. Forced action. It is the struggle. It is doing things from fear and effort. I have to work hard or I will starve. This action repels wealth because it vibrates in fear. Inspired action. It is when the law of attraction moves you. Suddenly you have an idea. You feel an electric impulse to call someone. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like play. It feels like flow. When you act from inspiration, time flies. The law of attraction does not eliminate action. It optimizes action. Instead of hitting rock in 100 wrong places, the law guides you through intuition to hit once exactly where the gold is. You have to move your feet. God can move mountains, but you have to bring the shovel. When you feel the nudge of intuition, act in less than 5 seconds. That is demonstrating to the universe that you are ready to receive. 4. Resistance and the time buffer. Why does it take so long? You ask for your ideal partner, and 3 years pass. The problem is resistance. Imagine you want to go east, your desire, but you have a hurricane wind blowing west, your limiting beliefs. Desire, I want to earn $10,000 a month. Subconscious belief, rich people are bad, I'm not capable. These two frequencies cancel each other out. Result, stagnation. The speed of attraction is directly proportional to desire. Speed, desire, resistance. If you have much desire but much resistance, you stay still and suffer. If you have little desire and zero resistance, you manifest small things fast, like a parking spot. To accelerate the law, you don't need to ask louder. You need to clear the resistance. You need to work on your deep beliefs. When you release the handbrake, the car moves forward on its own. Most people have the accelerator all the way down, visualizing, and the brake all the way down, fear. They just burn the engine, release the brake. 5. The paradox of need, detachment. This is the cruelest and funniest rule. You only get what you do not need. If you need your ex desperately to be happy, you repel them. Need is a sticky, heavy, and suffocating energy. It screams lack. If you need money to survive tomorrow, the money flees. Money smells panic and doesn't like it. Attraction works best in a state of fun preference. I would love to have it, but I am already complete. That vibration is magnetic. It is light. It is attractive. The universe likes people who are having fun. Think of dating. Who is more attractive? The desperate person crying for attention or the secure person who is happy with themselves? The secure person is irresistible. Be irresistible to money. Treat it like a playmate. 6. The vortex and the environment. Abraham Hicks talks about the vortex. The vortex is a vibrational reality where everything you have asked for already exists. Your millions are there. Your perfect health is there. They are waiting for you to enter the frequency of the vortex to manifest physically. What takes you out of the vortex? Judgment, complaining, and talking about illness. What puts you in the vortex? Appreciating a sunset, laughing with friends, or petting your dog. People think that to attract money, they have to think about money all day. False. If you think about money from worry, you exit the vortex. It is better to think about a cat if it brings joy. Joy is the carrier frequency. If you are happy eating an ice cream, you are in the frequency of receiving millions. It is the same high vibration. It doesn't matter what the object of your attention is. What matters is the quality of your emotion. Spend more time feeling good for any reason, and you will attract all good things. 7. Ground signals. Synchronicity. How do you know the law is working before the big prize arrives? The universe sends you smoke signals. These are synchronicities. You start seeing repeating numbers, 11, 11, 222. It is not superstition. It is a sign of alignment. You start seeing the car you want everywhere. You hear it in songs. When this happens, do not ignore it. It is the universe winking at you. It tells you, the system is connected, the signal is strong, keep going. Celebrate every synchronicity. Say, aha, it works, I am aligned. That celebration reinforces faith and accelerates the process. You are confirming to your brain that this is important. 8. Being specific versus being general. A common doubt. Should I ask for exactly what I want in detail or be general? It depends on your level of resistance. If you feel good about the desire, be specific. The specificity focuses energy like a laser. If you feel bad about the desire, be general. Use words like abundance or freedom. If thinking about $100,000 creates a knot in your stomach, you are activating resistance. In that case, being general lowers the resistance. Your logical mind cannot argue with abundance, but it does argue with a specific number. Trick your resistance by being general until your faith grows, then you can be specific. 9. The scripting technique. One of the most powerful tools is scripting. It consists of writing your life as if it were a movie that already happened. Take a journal. Write in the present or past tense. Do not write, I hope tomorrow goes well. Write, I am so happy and grateful now that I earn this much. Describe the smells. When you write by hand, you connect your conscious mind with the subconscious and the motor system. It is a triple command. If you do this every morning for 10 minutes, you are tuning your radio to the frequency of desire. It is impossible to write a script of gratitude and walk out with a bitter face. You walk out glowing. 10. The as-if method. Be careful with the phrase, fake it till you make it. Faking implies lying. It implies you feel like a fraud inside. Instead, use, rehearse it until you are it. An actor doesn't fake being Hamlet. He embodies Hamlet. He looks for the emotional truth. Play at being your future self. How would you walk? Start incorporating those small gestures. Wear your best clothes. Use your best perfume. Drink from the fine glass, not the plastic cup. Those small acts of dignity tell your subconscious, we are already there. This is our standard. The universe cannot give you a level 10 life if you treat yourself like a level 2. Treat yourself as a VIP. 11. Cleaning the space. The law of attraction hates a vacuum, but it also hates stagnation. If your house is full of old things, broken items, and clothes you don't use, you are sending a signal of past. There is no space for the new. If you want new clothes, donate the old ones. Leave literal gaps in your closet. Make room. Clean your wallet. Throw away old receipts. Organize your bills. Show money that you have a clean and tidy place to receive it. Money is an energy of dignity. It does not enter dirty and chaotic wallets. 12. Gratitude, the great amplifier. If you could only use one technique, let it be gratitude. It is the magnetic signature of receipt. You only give thanks when you have already received something. Therefore, giving thanks in advance is the ultimate hack of reality. When you say, thank you for my healing, even if you are still sick, you are collapsing the quantum wave. You are saying, it has already happened. And the universe obeys that absolute certainty. 13. Environment boomerang. Sometimes you are doing everything right, but your environment drains you. You tell your dreams to friends and they laugh or tell you to be realistic. At that moment, they project their doubts onto you. Rule of gold. Silence is power. Do not tell your manifestations before they happen. Keep the secret. The seed needs darkness and protection to germinate. If you take it out into the sun too early, Expose it to criticism, it dries up. Protect your dream. Be a secret agent of your own success until the results are so obvious that you don't need to explain them. This is the path of the master of attraction. Use your power now. Key 9. The law of oneness. Look at your hand. Move your fingers. Your fingers seem separate. They have different names: index, thumb. They move independently. But if you follow the line of the finger down, you reach the palm, then the wrist. You realize that the fingers are not separate things. They are extensions of a single hand. You are part of a whole. If the index finger cuts the thumb, the entire hand bleeds. The pain belongs to everyone. Humanity is that hand. You are a finger. Your enemy is another finger. The millionaire is another. The beggar is another. We believe we are separate because we see the empty space between our bodies. But the law tells us that space is not empty at all. It is filled with a divine matrix, a conducting ether that unites us all in an indivisible quantum soup. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Everything is connected. 1. The illusion of the ego and the skin. Why do we feel so lonely? Why do we feel we have to fight against the world to survive? It is a trap. We have fallen into the great illusion of the ego. The ego is a biological tool for physical survival. Its job is to say, I am I, and you are you. The ego defines limits. It says, my skin is the edge of my being. What is outside is not me. But metaphysics and science tell us this is false. At the atomic level, there is no edge. Your atoms are constantly exchanging electrons with the air, the chair, and the people around you. Every time you breathe, you inhale atoms that were once in the lungs of Julius Caesar or Jesus. You are recycling the stardust that the entire cosmos is made of. Biologically and energetically, you are connected to everything. Separation is a lie. It is impossible to be alone because you cannot leave the oneness. Imagine a wave in the sea. The wave looks at other waves and says, I am bigger, or I am afraid of crashing. The wave has forgotten it is water. The wave may disappear as a form, but the water remains. You are the water. Your personality is the wave. You are eternal. 2. Scientific proof. Quantum entanglement. For skeptics who think this is just poetry, let's talk about hard physics. There is a phenomenon called quantum entanglement. If you take two particles that have been joined and separate them, even across the universe. If you modify particle A, particle B changes instantly. It's a fact. It happens faster than the speed of light, without wires. They know what happens to the other because at a deep level, they are still the same thing. Space does not separate them. If the Big Bang is true, then all matter was once concentrated in a single point. Everything was joined. That means every atom of yours is entangled. Every atom in your body is entangled with every atom in the farthest star. The entire universe is quantumly entangled. What happens in your mind affects the total field. Your thoughts do not stay in your skull. They send waves that alter reality light years away. You are not a passive observer. You are an active co-creator of the web. 3. Pragmatic ethics. The instant boomerang. This law transforms morality. It is no longer about being good so God won't punish you. It is about pure intelligence. If we are all one, then hurting another is self-mutilation. If I steal from you, I think I have gained money and you have lost. My ego celebrates, but it is a terrible mistake. According to the law of oneness, I have stolen from another part of myself. I have generated a vibration of theft in the unified field. As I am part of the field, that vibration of loss must manifest in my experience. I might not lose money tomorrow, but I will lose peace or love. The system always balances itself. It is a machine. The golden rule is not religious advice. It is a description of how reality works. You treat others as you are treating yourself in delayed time. The judgment you throw at your neighbor is the judgment that condemns you. The envy you feel for another's success is the barrier you put to your own success. You are blocking yourself. When you bless someone, you bless yourself. When you help someone up, you rise. You cannot lift someone from the ground without reaching out and shaking their hand. In that contact, both are elevated. The intelligent egoist is very altruistic because he knows that everything he gives is an investment in his own global well-being. 4. Competition versus creation. In the world of business, we are taught that life is a zero-sum game. For me to win, you must lose. This is the mentality of separation and scarcity. It is the jungle mentality. The law of oneness teaches us the creative mentality. The ocean has no shortage of water. The sun has no shortage of light. If you light your candle with my fire, I do not lose fire. Now there is more light in the world. True wealth comes from creation, not competition. When you create real value, the pie gets bigger. If you see a competitor and feel fear, you are vibrating in separation. You are blocking your flow. You are hurting your own business. If you apply the law of oneness, you bless your competitor. You say, it's great they are doing well. It's proof there is abundance in this market. Their success is my success because we are part of the same economic mind. That vibration makes you magnetic. Customers smell it. Everyone wants to buy from someone secure and abundant. 5. Healing relationships, the holographic mirror. We saw in the law of correspondence that the other is a mirror. The law of oneness goes further. The other is you. It is a version of you living a different experience. The beggar is you, if you had been born in his circumstances. The cruel dictator is you, conditioned by his pain. There is no them and us. There is only us. This is the basis of radical compassion. When you understand that the one who offends you is acting from their own pain, and that pain is part of the collective pain, you stop taking it personally. You stop hating. You move from judgment to compassion. You understand their suffering. Forgiveness becomes automatic. How can you not forgive your own hand for hitting you? You don't forgive because he deserves it. You forgive because you understand that holding a grudge is drinking poison and expecting the other to die. Since you are one, the poison kills you both. Forgiveness is self-preservation. It is wisdom. 6. The power of the collective mind. The law of oneness explains social phenomena. There is something called the 100th monkey effect. When a critical number of individuals in a species learns a new behavior, suddenly the whole species learns it, even without physical contact. Information is transmitted through the group mind. This means your personal work is not just for you. When you raise your vibration, when you heal your traumas, when you overcome poverty, you are doing the work for your family and for humanity. You are uploading the file of the solution to the collective cloud. Now it is easier for others to access that solution. You are an antenna. If you light up your network. Never underestimate the power of one person vibrating in peace in a room full of angry people. By the law of entrainment and oneness, that peace is contagious. You can heal your family simply by healing yourself. You need to vibrate so high that their darkness cannot stand in your presence. 7. Telepathy and synchronicity. If we are all connected, non-verbal communication is the norm. Have you ever thought of someone and they call you, or felt that something is wrong with your child and it turns out to be true? That is the web of oneness working. Thoughts travel through the filaments of connection. You are always talking. You can use this consciously. If you have a conflict with someone, talk to them in the plane of oneness. Sit in meditation. Visualize the person and talk to them heart to heart. Ask for forgiveness. Explain your truth with love. Their subconscious will receive the message. Next time you meet, the tension will be lower. It works. 8. The feeling of belonging. The modern epidemic of depression and anxiety has a deep root: disconnection. We have disconnected from nature and the spirit. The human being is a tribal animal. The law of oneness is the medicine. To heal, you need to feel part of the whole again. Go out into nature. Hug a tree. Walk barefoot. Look at the stars and realize you are made of the same material. When you feel that the universe is not a hostile place, but your home, anxiety drops. You feel you have a right to be here. You feel sustained. You are part of the divine ecology. The system takes care of its parts if the parts trust the system. You are safe in the one. 9. Namaste. The greeting of the gods. In India, they greet each other saying Namaste. It means, the divinity in me greets the divinity in you. Or, the God who dwells in my heart recognizes the God in yours. It is not a social greeting. It is a recognition of the law of oneness. It means, I see beyond your mask, I see your light. Imagine if you lived your life like this. Imagine if every time you negotiate with a client or talk to your partner, you remembered, Namaste. You are another me. Fear disappears. Greed disappears. You enter a state of flow and grace. Doors open because people feel you truly see them. Recognition is the highest act of love. Key 10. The law of assumption, the shortcut. Forget everything you have been told about attracting and asking or waiting. Those words imply distance. They imply that what you desire is far from you and that you must earn merits to bring it. That is the long road. It is the path of the beggar. There is a shortcut. A path reserved for the bold who dare to skip logic and hack the matrix. This is the key popularized by the great mystic Neville Goddard, although it has been the secret of kings and prophets since the beginning of time. The 10th forbidden key is the law of assumption. Its axiom is radical and dangerous for the conformist. An assumption, though false if persisted in, will harden into fact. Read it again. Though false. This law does not ask you to be realistic. It asks you to be a creator. The law of assumption declares that physical reality is not the cause of your consciousness, but the effect of your consciousness. The world is a delayed mirror. If you want to change your reflection, you don't wait for the reflection to smile first. You smile first, and the mirror has no choice but to smile back. To assume means to take for oneself. It is the act of appropriating a state of being before you have the physical proof. It is living from the end. It is the difference between wanting to travel, attraction, and mentally walking those streets feeling the rain, assumption. 1. The death of hope. Desire is an obstacle. Most people live on hope. I hope that one day, I wish it would happen. The law of assumption comes to kill your hope, because hope is the confirmation that you do not have it. No one hopes for what they already possess. You do not hope to have your shoes on right now, you know it. Constant desire is a declaration of lack. As long as you keep desiring to be rich, you will remain poor, because the universe will give you more feeling of desire. To activate this law, you have to take a quantum leap in your identity. You must stop being the person who wants the car and become the person who drives the car. The change is subtle but nuclear. You move from I want to be to I am. I am is the name of God. It is the most potent creative force. Anything you put after I am becomes your destiny. If you say I am poor, I am sickly, I am unlucky, you are assuming that identity and the world will confirm it to you. It is a command. Assumption requires you to put on the emperor's suit even if you are naked, and to wear it with such dignity that the world rushes to weave the invisible clothes you are already wearing. 2. The denial of the senses, the great challenge. This is where 99% fail. This is where children are separated from adults in metaphysics. It is the test. Your 5 senses, sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, constantly scream a reality at you. You look at your account and see $0. You look at your body and see fat. You look at your bed and it is empty. Your senses tell you, this is the truth. The law of assumption tells you, your senses are liars. They are historians, not prophets. What your senses see today is the result of your assumptions of yesterday. It is materialized past. It is like looking at the light of a dead star. The star died millions of years ago, but its light is still arriving. Your current poverty is the light of a dead star, your old thoughts. If you believe your senses, you stay in it. The initiate practices what Neville called brazen impudence. He dares to deny the evidence of his senses. He stands before the mirror, sees the illness, and says internally, "Lie, I am perfect health." He looks at the unpaid bill and says, "Illusion, I am infinite abundance." It is not madness. It is fidelity to a higher reality. 3. Thinking from the end versus thinking of the end. This distinction is the technical key to the whole system. Most people think of their desire. They think of the new house. They see it as a distant object. They look at it like someone looking at a shop window. There is separation there. I am here, the house is over there. It fails. Assumption requires thinking from the end. It means getting inside the image. You no longer look at the house, you look at the world from the windows of the house. You no longer think about the money, you think from the security of having the money in the bank. Your thoughts change. You no longer think, how will I pay the rent? You think, where will I go on vacation now that I have plenty of money? That shift in perspective is the proof that you have assumed the state. When you think from the end, you feel relief. You feel what the Bible calls the Sabbath, the day of rest. You no longer have to fight to get it because you already are it. It is done. 4. The bridge of incidents, how it happens. The logical mind, the ego, always asks, how? How am I going to be rich if I don't have a job? The law of assumption has an answer. The how is none of your business. When you assume the final state, it is done, the universe automatically deploys a bridge of incidents. It is a series of events. It is a series of coincidences and situations that will lead you from where you are to where you have assumed to be. You do not have to build the bridge, you only have to walk across it. Sometimes the bridge seems strange. Maybe you assume wealth and the next day you're fired. Your ego panics. This went wrong, I am worse than before. No, it is part of the bridge. You were fired because that job was a ceiling for your wealth. You needed to get out of there to start the business that will make you a millionaire. The firing was the first brick of the bridge. If you maintain your assumption, I am rich, you will see every event as a necessary step toward your goal. 5. Technique, the strict mental diet. If you accept that your assumption creates your reality, then your internal conversations are the creation tool. What do you say to yourself all day? Do you spend your time mentally arguing with your boss? Do you spend your time justifying why you can't? Those conversations are negative assumptions. For this law to work, you need to go on a mental diet. It is harder than a food diet, but more rewarding. It consists of observing every thought, and if it is not aligned with your assumption of wish fulfilled, you kill it. You give it no attention. You replace it. If your assumption is, I am happily married, you cannot permit loneliness. You cannot listen to songs of heartbreak or speak ill of your ex. That is sabotage. You have to talk to yourself as if you were already that person. How good I feel with my partner. How grateful I am. Even if you are alone in the room, the persistence in this new internal conversation is what solidifies the hologram of your life. 6. The state akin to sleep, SATS. Neville Goddard left us the supreme technique to print the assumption into the subconscious without effort. He called it SATS, state akin to sleep. It is that moment just before you fall asleep, theta waves, when you are so relaxed you cannot move the body but you are still conscious. It is the door. In that state, the door of the subconscious is wide open and the logical guardian is drugged. SATS instructions: lie down and relax to the edge of sleep. Choose a short scene, 5 to 10 seconds, that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Do not visualize the process, visualize the end. Example, imagine a handshake and congratulations. Repeat that scene in a loop over and over. Add sensory vividness. Feel the handshake, hear the tone of voice, feel your own smile of satisfaction. Fall asleep doing that action. By doing this, you are impregnating the universal mind. You are reprogramming the base operating system. If you do it every night, it is law. It must happen. 7. Everyone is you pushed out, EIYPO. This is the most radical application of assumption in relationships. Neville coined the phrase, everyone is you pushed out. It means that people in your reality do not have total free will in their behavior toward you. They act according to the script you write for them with your assumptions. If you assume, my father is critical and never supports me, your father has no choice but to behave critically toward you because you are keeping him in that role with your mind. If you assume, my partner is unfaithful, you will unconsciously push them to infidelity to validate your belief. You are the director. They are actors. If you don't like how a character acts, don't fight the actor. Change the script in your mind. Start assuming the best of people. Say, my boss is now kind and values my work. My partner is now loving and faithful. Hold that assumption firmly, ignoring the momentary reality. You will see miracles. People will change overnight. 8. The fourth dimension and time. Let's understand the metaphysics of time. We live in 3D, space. We move linearly. But assumption occurs in 4D, time, imagination. In 4D, everything exists here and now. All possible versions of your life, rich you, poor you, sick you, healthy you, exist simultaneously as possibilities or states. They are like rooms in an infinite house. You do not create wealth. Wealth already exists. You simply walk into the room of wealth. To assume is the act of moving rooms. You leave the room of poverty and enter that of wealth. At first it feels strange, but if you stay there, persist, it becomes natural. It becomes your home. 9. The concept of naturalness. What is the secret for the assumption to harden fast? Naturalness. As long as your desire feels like something big, incredible, or magical, it will not happen. Because if it is incredible, it means it is far from your current identity. A millionaire does not wake up screaming with joy. It is normal. You have to make your desire feel normal. You have to use the assumption until the idea of having that seems like the most logical thing in the world to you. Of course I am successful. It is who I am. When you reach the point of naturalness, the manifestation explodes. The universe gives you what is natural for your consciousness. 10. Persistence, the only rule. What do you do if you assume and nothing happens? What do you do if you have been doing sats for a week and your reality gets worse? The only answer is persist. Physical reality has inertia. It is heavy. Sometimes it takes a little while to bend before the new command. It is like a large ship breaking. Even if you have put it in reverse, it keeps moving forward a bit by inertia. Do not be afraid. Do not let go of the assumption. If you doubt and go back, you restart the process. Neville said, "Do not accept a no for an answer from the facts. Be stubborn, be irrational. Tell reality, I don't care what you show me, I know who I am." That divine stubbornness is the faith that moves mountains. Reality is a submissive bitch. At first she resists, but if you stand firm in your authority, she kneels before you. This is the power of the law of assumption. Use it now and change your world forever. You are the creator of your destiny. It is already done, assume it now. Key 11, the law of detachment faith. Welcome to the cruelest trap of metaphysics. Welcome to the paradox that has caused millions of aspirants to fall. What you lack is not more strength. What you lack is letting go. The 11th forbidden key is the law of detachment. Its axiom is devastating for the controlling ego. To acquire anything, you must relinquish your attachment to it. In detachment lies the wisdom of uncertainty. Do not relinquish the intention nor the desire. Relinquish your interest in the result. This law declares that need repels, trust attracts. While you maintain a death grip on your dream, you are suffocating it. You are strangling the energy. The universe is a flow machine. Your hands must be open. If your fists are closed by the fear of losing or the fear of not receiving, nothing can enter. Detachment is the supreme act of faith. It is looking into the void and knowing there is ground, or that you will learn to fly. 1. The mechanics of suffocation, the sand hand effect. Imagine you go to the beach and pick up a handful of dry sand. If you keep your hand open and relaxed, the sand stays there. You possess it. But the moment you feel fear of losing it and close your fist tightly, the sand starts to slip through your fingers. The harder you squeeze, the more you lose, until you are left with nothing. This is what you do with your desires. You squeeze too hard. You want that relationship, that money, or that health so much that you become attached. Attachment is tension. Tension is doubt. Attachment says, I need this to be happy. If I don't have it, I die. Where is it? That vibration is of desperation. And as we saw in the law of vibration, desperation vibrates in scarcity. You repel it. The more you attach, the more you repel the object of your desire. Detachment says, I desire this, I know it's coming, but if it doesn't arrive today, I am still fine. My happiness does not depend on it. That vibration is of freedom, and freedom is magnetic. The universe loves the free and flees from slaves. Do not be a slave to your desire. 2. The law of reversed effort. The philosopher Aldous Huxley described the law of reversed effort. This law states that when the will and the imagination conflict, the imagination wins, and the more you consciously strive, the lesser the result. It's like learning to swim. If you fall into the water and panic, you begin to struggle. You thrash around and swallow water. You sink. Your effort kills you. To float, you have to do the opposite of instinct. You have to relax. You have to surrender to the water. Only when you stop fighting does the water sustain you. In manifestation, excessive effort is a sign that you do not believe. Effort is the proof of your doubt. If you believe your check is already coming in the mail, do you sit at the door suffering and screaming at the mailman? No. You relax, you watch TV, you live your life. If you are fighting to manifest, you are confirming that you do not have it. The law of detachment asks you to stop thrashing. It asks you to enter the flow. 3. Excessive potential. The physics of balance. The Russian physicist Vadim Zeland explains this through the concept of excessive potential. The universe always seeks energetic balance. If you give excessive importance to something, put it on a pedestal, you create an imbalance. You create an excessive potential in the quantum field. It's like stretching a rubber band too much. To restore balance, the universe generates balancing forces. And what do these forces do? They take away the object of your desire or move it away, so you lower the tension. If you give too much importance to a job, you likely won't get it. Your anxiety sabotaged the interview. If you idolize a partner, that person will lose interest in you, because the universe needs to balance your energy. The solution is to lower the importance. It doesn't mean you don't care about the goal. It means you take away the dramatic weight. Play with reality. Don't take it so seriously. Say, it would be great, but if not, it's fine. By lowering the importance, you deactivate the balancing forces. The rubber band relaxes. The obstacle disappears. Money flows to those who treat it with respect, but without idolatry. Love flows to those who love, but do not need. 4. Detachment versus apathy. Many people confuse detachment with, I don't care about anything. It is a mistake. Well, since I have to let go, I'll just sit on the couch and do nothing. That is not detachment, that is apathy or resignation, and apathy is a low vibration. Divine detachment is a subtle mix of two things, firm intention, fire, and surrender of the result, water. You have a clear objective, but you are happy during the process. It's like a car trip. You have an intention, go to the beach, you get in the car and drive, action, but you don't go screaming, are we there yet? You don't grab the wheel so hard your knuckles bleed, you enjoy the scenery. If there is a detour, you take it calmly. You know you will arrive, that is detachment, apathy is not even getting in. 5. The how and when are none of your business. The main reason we attach is because we want to control the how and the when. I want to be rich, but it has to be through the lottery, and it has to be by Friday. By doing this, you are closing millions of doors and leaving only one open. You are limiting the infinite power of the field. The law of detachment requires you to renounce control over the details. Your job is the what, the final desire. The work of the universe is the how, the means, and the when, the perfect time. Infinite intelligence has a panoramic view. You have tunnel vision. Perhaps the universe is waiting for Monday to give you double. But you, in your tantrum of I want it now, block the perfect delivery. Drop the clock, drop the map. Trust the divine GPS. Tell the universe, this is what I want, or something better. Bring it in the most harmonious way and at the perfect time. That prayer is the key to mental peace. Surrender the details to the great mind. 6. The paradox of relationships. This law is brutally visible in love. We have all seen the case of the person who desperately pursues someone. They call, write, watch, and beg. What happens? The other person flees. Energetically, when you pursue someone, you push them. You occupy all the space. You leave no room for them to come to you. But what happens when that person gives up, lets go and says, I don't care anymore? Suddenly the phone rings, the ex returns, or someone better appears. Why? Because by letting go, you stopped pushing. You created a magnetic vacuum. If you love something, set it free. If it returns, it's yours. Detachment is the highest form of love. It says, I love you so much that I want you happy, with or without me. Curiously, that attitude is so attractive and secure that it makes people want to stay with you forever. Confidence is the ultimate aphrodisiac. 7. Money flees from need. Money is a feminine energy in this aspect. It hates the desperate. It needs space to move. If you need money to pay rent tomorrow, and you are vibrating in terror, money will be blocked. You will break things. You will lose opportunities. It is the smell of fear. Clients smell if you need the sale to eat, and they don't buy. They smell the pressure. To attract money, you must reach a state of internal sufficiency. You have to feel, I am fine. I have life and capacity. Money is a game and I'm going to win, but it doesn't define me. When you play with money, instead of praying to it, money wants to play with you. Observe the rich. They often do business with a relaxed, almost disinterested attitude, and they win millions. Adopt that cool indifference. 8. The surrender technique. How is detachment practiced? With surrender. It is not surrendering to the enemy. It is surrendering to your ally, God, universe. It is stopping swimming against the current and letting the current carry you. There is a moment in every manifestation where you have to say, it is done. It is a final act. It is the moment to release the arrow. If the archer never lets go of the string, the arrow never flies. You have to reach a point of mental saturation where you say, I have visualized enough. Now I hand this over. Do a small ceremony. Write your desire on paper. Read it with emotion. And then burn it, or throw it into the sea. That physical act symbolizes, I let it go. It is no longer in my hands, it is in the hands of the law. And from that moment on, forbid yourself from worrying. Every time worry returns, say, no, I already sent it. It is in process. I am not going to dig up the seed. That mental discipline is true detachment. Let the law work. 9. The fear of loss. Attachment is born from the fear of loss. We believe that if we lose that job or that partner, our life ends. The law teaches you that loss is an illusion. In the universe, nothing is lost. Everything is transformed. If you lose something, it is because its cycle ended and because something better needs that space. Trust that the universe never takes something away without having something better prepared, unless you cling to the old and block the new. Sometimes the disaster is the best blessing of your life in disguise. It is the universe snatching a broken toy from your hands to give you a new one. Release the old, trust the renewal. 10. The Guarantee Fund. Plan B. A psychological technique to facilitate detachment is to have a mental plan B. Sometimes fear is so strong we cannot let go. In that case, look fear in the face. Ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen if I don't get my desire? I'll have to move back home. I'll stay single. Then say, could I survive that? The answer is always yes. Yes, I would survive. It would be uncomfortable, but I wouldn't die. I could start again. The moment you accept the worst possible scenario, fear loses its teeth. You realize you are bigger than your circumstances. Paradoxically, acceptance makes the best scenario manifest. 11. Faith is the certainty of what is not seen. St. Paul said it best, faith is the certainty of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. If you need to see to believe, you don't have faith. You have sight. Detachment is the physical proof of your faith. If you are calm while your reality is chaos, you are showing faith. If you sleep in peace while you have debts, you are showing faith. And faith is the currency with which miracles are bought. The universe is constantly testing your faith. It will put you in limit situations just before the manifestation. It will seem that everything is going wrong. It is the moment of the dark night. Trust. It is the final exam. If in that moment you attach, scream, and doubt, you fail. The process stops. If in that moment you smile, let go of the wheel and say, I trust. I know this is part of the bridge. Then the wall opens and you pass to the other side. Detachment in the moment of greatest tension is the master key to everything. Key 12. The law of forgiveness, the emptying. We have traveled a long way. You have learned to govern your mind, to raise your vibration, to polarize your emotions, to sow causes, and to assume your destiny. You have the tools of a god. But it is very likely that, despite all this knowledge, you still feel that something is holding you back. You feel a heavy weight on your feet. You feel that you have one foot on the accelerator, your desire, and another on the brake, your past. You feel that you are trying to fill your cup of abundance, but the liquid spills because the cup is already full of vinegar, mud, and old poison. Welcome to the 12th and final forbidden key, the key that most people ignore. This law requires the bravest act, surrendering the ego. This is not a lesson in morality. I am not here to tell you to be good. I am here to teach you fluid mechanics. You cannot put new wine into old skins. You cannot put new furniture into a house crowded with trash. To receive, you must first let go. This is the law of the end. The final key is the law of forgiveness and emptying. Its axiom is the basis of all reception. Empty space must be created before it can be filled. Resentment is a blockage in the pipe of abundance. Forgiveness is not a gift for the other. It is a gift of freedom for yourself. Many ask, why don't I manifest? Here is the answer. The answer is usually found in this law. They are holding on to hate. They are holding on to guilt. Hate is a dense, sticky, and contracted energy. Wealth is an expansive and fluid energy. They are incompatible. A heart closed by resentment is a closed fist, and a closed fist cannot catch coins, caresses, or blessings. Open it. 1. The physics of the vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. It is a physical law. If you create a vacuum in a bottle, the air will rush to fill it with tremendous force. If you take all the air out of a room, the universe will try to implode to fill that space. In metaphysics, this is called the law of emptying. If you want new clothes, you have to give away or throw out the old ones. If your closet is full, literally nothing else fits. If you want a new love, you have to energetically release your ex. While you occupy that mental space with nostalgia or resentment, the universe says, the seat is occupied. You must clear the way today. If you want new and creative ideas, you have to empty your mind of old prejudices. The act of letting go is a declaration of faith. It says, I trust so much that something better will come, that I dare to throw away what I have now. The hoarder lives in fear. He vibrates in scarcity. The one who cleans and discards vibrates in trust. The universe always hastens to fill empty space with something of higher vibrational quality. The emptying creates a magnetic suction. It attracts the new. 2. Resentment, drinking poison. Let's talk about resentment. There is a phrase that summarizes the stupidity of hate. Holding on to hate is like drinking poison. Holding on to hate is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Let's analyze it chemically. When you hate someone, when you remember the offense, who feels the anger? You. Who secretes cortisol and adrenaline in their blood? You. Who suffers from insomnia? You do. The other person is probably sleeping peacefully. Your hate does not reach them. Your hate stays in your body. It corrodes you. It rusts you. Cancer, ulcers, autoimmune diseases. Many times they are the somatization of a I do not forgive that has remained trapped in the cells for decades. Forgiving does not mean saying what you did was right. It is not about approval. Forgiving does not mean let's be friends. Forgiving means I refuse to continue taking this poison. I refuse to keep hurting myself for what you did. It is an act of intelligent selfishness. You free yourself from the toxic bond so that you can heal and prosper. You take back your health, you take back your life today. Transcend the toxic umbilical cord. Metaphysically, hate creates a bond. When you love someone, you create a thread of light that unites you to them. When you hate someone, you create an iron chain that unites you to them. Think about it. That person you hate lives in your head for free. You wake up thinking about them. It is a tie. You have given them your power. You are their slave. Where your attention goes, your energy goes. If your attention is on your enemy, you are giving them your vital energy. You are feeding their strength with yours. To recover your power, you have to cut the cable. Forgiveness is the scissors. You must choose to be free. By forgiving, you say, I free you and I free myself. I withdraw my energy from you. I cut the supply. At the moment you radically forgive, the other person loses power over you. They become irrelevant. They become a ghost. And you recover 100% of your mental bandwidth to dedicate it to creating your empire and your happiness. 4. Guilt, the greatest block to wealth. There is a resentment more dangerous than hate toward others, hate toward oneself. It is called guilt. Many of you apply the law of attraction, work hard, and are good people, but you remain poor or sick. Why? Because deep in your subconscious you feel guilty. You are punishing yourself. Perhaps because of a past mistake, perhaps because of a religious belief of sin. The subconscious mind works with simple syllogisms. Premise 1. Guilt demands punishment. Premise 2. I am guilty. Conclusion. I must be punished. And how does the modern human punish themselves? With poverty, with self-sabotage, with illness. If you feel guilty, you will reject money unconsciously. You will lose it. It will be stolen from you. Because it is not right for a guilty person to be happy. To deactivate the self-punishment mechanism, you must apply the law of self-forgiveness. You must declare your innocence. Understand that you did your best at that time. 5. The clogged pipe. Imagine you are a channel through which divinity flows. The energy enters through your crown and must go out into the world through your creations. Resentment is like cholesterol in the arteries, or like stones in a pipe. If you are full of stones of resentment, the flow of water, money, love, is reduced to a drip. You ask for more water, but the pipe is blocked. If the universe sent you the flow of a river of fortune, the pressure would burst the pipe. That is why it doesn't send you wealth yet, to protect you. The cleansing of forgiveness unclogs the pipe. Sometimes after a deep act of forgiveness, the money appears the next day. It is not magic. It is hydraulics. You remove the plug. The water that was pressing on the other side simply flowed in. Abundance has always been there, pressing against your door. Resentment was the lock. Remove the lock. 6. How to forgive the unforgivable. But narrator, you don't know what they did to me. It was horrible. I know. There are acts that, from human logic and earthly justice, are unforgivable. But we are not talking about earthly justice. Leave that to the courts and the law of cause and effect. We are talking about spiritual hygiene. If you have an infected wound on your leg, you don't say, I won't heal it because the thorn doesn't deserve it. You heal yourself because it hurts you. Forgiving the unforgivable is the deepest healing. To do it, you must rise to the law of oneness. See that the person acted from their own darkness. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. They were an instrument of your own evolution, even if the instrument was painful. You are free now. 7. Technique 1. The release letter. Fire. This is a classic but infallible technique. Write a letter to the person who hurt you, or to yourself. Do not censor yourself. Write everything. Vomit the hate, the pain, the insults. Take the poison out of the system and put it on paper. Cry and scream as you write the words. At the end of the letter, write, But today I decide that I love myself more than I hate you. Therefore I release you. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. I cut the bond. You owe me nothing. I owe you nothing. Goodbye. Then, go to a safe place and burn the letter. Watch the paper turn to ash. Fire transmutes the energy. Feel how the weight leaves your body along with the smoke. It is a psychomagic ritual. Your subconscious understands rituals. It will understand that the chapter is closed. 8. Technique 2. Revision, changing the past. Using the law of assumption, you can forgive by changing the past in your mind. Neville Goddard recommended this. If you have a trauma with someone, close your eyes and recreate the scene. But this time, change the script. Imagine that person treated you with love, or imagine they sincerely apologized to you. Repeat that new scene until you feel relief. By doing this, you neutralize the emotional charge. 9. Technique 3. Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian cleansing. The ancient shamans of Hawaii had a conflict resolution technique based on oneness. They understood that if you see a problem outside, it is because there is a wrong memory inside. To clean that memory, they repeated 4 phrases as a mantra to the divinity within themselves. I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Repeat this mentally when you think of the person who offended you, or when you think about your debt. It is like a magic eraser. It erases the toxic information from the subconscious. It cleans the field. 10. The symptom of real forgiveness, indifference. How do you know? How do you know if you have truly forgiven? Many people say I already forgave Guy, but when they hear that person's name, their stomach contracts. They have not forgiven. They have repressed. The proof of forgiveness is emotional indifference, neutrality. You can think of that person and feel nothing. It is like thinking of a chair. 11. Physical cleansing, the feng shui of emptying. As it is inside, so it is outside. To accelerate your internal forgiveness process, perform an external emptying. Today, go to your closet, go to your garage, look for broken old things you don't use that bring back bad memories. Throw them away. Donate them. Make room. Clean the dust. Move the furniture. Tell the universe with physical actions, I am making room for the new. I am ready to receive. You will feel an immediate lightness. Sometimes moving a stuck sofa moves stuck financial energy. Try it. 12. The final step, gratitude for the lesson. The highest level of forgiveness is gratitude. It is when you look back and say, thank you, because thanks to that pain I became strong. Thanks to that betrayal, I learned to love myself. When you manage to see the hidden blessing in the curse, the alchemy is complete. You have turned lead into gold. You are no longer a victim. You are a graduate student. You are a master. Conclusion: the awakening of the operator. You have reached the end. But in reality, this is not an end. It is point zero. Look at the video clock. Look at how much time you have invested listening to my voice. Most people who started this video left at minute 3. They were looking for a quick magic trick. They were looking for a pill to get rich without changing their minds. They were looking for entertainment, not transformation. They are still asleep. They are still batteries plugged into the matrix, feeding a system they do not understand. But you are still here. That separates you from 99% of the population. The fact that you have reached this conclusion proves that your soul was hungry for truth. It proves that within you there was a suspicion, an intuition shouting, there is something more. Life cannot be just working, paying debts, and dying. There must be a hidden code. Today, I confirm you were right. The code exists. And now, the code is in your hands. We have walked the labyrinth together. We have taken reality apart. I showed you that all is mind, giving you back the throne of Creator. I showed you the mirror of correspondence so you stop fighting your reflection. I taught you to tune the vibration so you choose your music. I taught you polarity so you turn fear into power. I taught you rhythm so you dance with the cycles instead of drowning. I taught you cause and effect to stop believing in luck and start creating destiny. I taught you generation to unite your mind and heart. I taught you attraction to be a magnet for what you are. I taught you oneness to discover you were never alone. I taught you assumption to live from the end. You have all the keys now. I taught you detachment to release the throat of your dreams. And I taught you forgiveness to clean the pipe of abundance. This is not just information. This is nuclear power. And power carries a danger. The danger is called analysis paralysis or intellectual gluttony. It is easy to feel enlightened for a moment and then quit. It is easy to turn off the screen and go back to your old life, to go back to complaining about traffic, to go back to hating your job, to go back to feeling like a victim. If you do that, you have committed a crime against yourself. Knowledge that is not used rots, it becomes dead weight. To know and not to do is the same as not knowing. I do not want you to be a librarian of universal laws. I want you to be an operator of reality. Your life is your laboratory. Your daily life is your training ground. Do not believe a single word I have said today. Doubt me. Doubt everything. But have the courage to put it to the test. I challenge you. I challenge you to take one law. Take the law of assumption, for example, and play for keeps. For 24 hours, walk through your house as if you were already the person you dream of being. Talk like them, dress like them, treat people like them. Ignore your empty bank account. Ignore the problems, deny them with brazen impudence, and observe what happens next. Watch how the world bends. Watch how people look at you differently. Watch the coincidences that begin to sprout like flowers in the desert. When you see the first result, and you will see it, something will click in your head. It will no longer be blind faith, it will be gnosis, it will be knowledge through direct experience. In that moment, the fear of life will disappear forever, because you will realize you were never a leaf in the wind. You will realize you were always the wind. You can no longer go back to sleep. Once you see the strings of the puppet, you can no longer believe in the puppet show. You have bitten the apple, you are out of the cave. The sun will hurt your eyes at first. Your friends will tell you that you have changed, that you are weird. They will tell you to be realistic. Smile at them with compassion, because you know that being realistic is the path to mediocrity, and that being a visionary is the path to glory. Let them play at being victims. You have remembered that you are a god in amnesia, who has just recovered his memory. Look in the mirror today. Do not see the wrinkles, or the tiredness, or the past. See the infinite light that inhabits that suit of flesh. See the observer who collapses quantum waves. See the alchemist who transmutes lead into gold. You are the air. All the forces of the universe, gravity, electromagnetism, light, time, all are waiting for your orders. But they are waiting for clear orders, firm orders, orders of love. Stop asking for permission to exist. Stop apologizing for shining. The world is on fire, full of fear and confusion. The world desperately needs lighthouses. It needs people who vibrate high. It needs people who understand oneness. By healing yourself, you heal the world. Your wealth is the world's wealth. Your joy is the world's joy. You do no one a favor by being poor and sad. Stand up. Take your place. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not one day. Now. Use your power. The present is the only point of power. In this precise instant, as my voice fades, you are creating your future. What are you going to choose? Fear or love? Victim or creator? Asleep or awake? The choice is yours. It has always been yours. The 12 keys are in your pocket. The door is in front of you. Open it. The music rises to the maximum, epic, triumphant, vibrant. It holds for a few seconds and then cuts suddenly to total silence. In the silence, the voice returns, soft, close, almost a whisper in the ear. If this knowledge has ignited a spark in your soul, we have a deal to close. The universe works by exchange. You must give. I have given you the code. Now I ask you for 3 simple things to balance the scale. 1. Subscribe to the channel. Do it for yourself. It is your statement to the algorithm of your life that you want more truth. 2. Share this video. Be a channel of abundance. There is someone out there who is suffering. Be the angel for them. 3. Decree your power. Go to the comments right now. Do not think about it. Write your new truth. Write, I am the master of my reality. By writing it, you bring it down from the mental world to the physical world. You seal it. Let the comments be a wall of unbreakable decrees. I am the voice of path of knowledge. It has been an absolute honor to walk with you on this forbidden path. Remember, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Go out there, apply the laws, and make your life your masterpiece. The journey has just begun. See you in the next frequency. I believe in you. Now go and create your world.